dun 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 now. Can any of you guess what I am doing right now? What theme is that from?
Is it from a zombie movie?
Yes.
Return of the Living Dead?
No.
Okay.
Dun 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 dun. I thought it was pretty obvious, no? Dawn of the Dead?
Dawn of the Dead. Okay.
Yeah.
To be fair, it's you're singing it. You're singing an instrumental song. You're making me and Nate look like we've never seen.
Come on, guys! What? You don't know Dawn of the Dead? Come on!
What's a zombie movie?
Yeah.
Come on, man! Like, jeez. Welcome to another episode of Sinful Celluloid. You're going to notice a couple of things are different. We have some differences tonight. For one, there are 3 of us, not 2. Usually it is myself and our master of ceremonies, Christopher M. Jimenez. However, Chris was not available tonight. He had other engagements, other commitments that he had to fulfill and oversee of the musical variety. I don't know how much he would or would not want me to say. I'm sure if you follow Chris, you'll see various photographs of where he is right now, and we will miss him. But the show must go on. We had a sub host who had to peel out for understandable reasons. And we hope to have him on the future at some future point as well, because he's an awesome dude. And so I decided, why not get the band back together? I don't know if you guys realize this. There's this podcast called it's Real 96 Podcast, right? Real 96. Yeah, it's the Real 96 Podcast. I knew it. And it's the Real 96 Podcast. It's by the Genre Blast Film Festival. If you don't know what the Genre Blast Film Festival is, it's one of the best genre film festivals in the entire country. You know why? Because it fosters a wonderful sense of cinematic film community. And last week, we recorded an episode of The Frighteners, and it was so much fun. And it just dropped today. And we talked about The Frighteners, and we talked about not Frighteners, but things in relevancy to The Frighteners. And I was able to get 2 out of the 3 or 3 out of the 4, if you want to include myself, of the band back together tonight, because I figured if anybody could talk about movies that's not Chris, it's these gentlemen right here. And I'm so pleased to have them on the Sinful Celluloid show, podcast, whatever you want to call it. This is episode number 7. We're talking about zombies, ghouls, and the undead, and whatever paradigms. And I'm going to introduce my players here. We got Bob Rose to the right of me. This
Hello.
man has his own podcast empire, Thunder Grunt.
Yep.
And they do all sorts of stuff, all sorts of various. They do writing, screenplay, podcasts. He's got shrimp nights. That's right. If you enjoy eating shrimp cocktail and drinking white wine, then you will love this podcast that will make
I don't think we've ever talked about shrimp on Shrimp Night.
Isn't that what Shrimp Night is?
Yeah, but it's never talking about shrimp. That's the point. It's a useless name.
but Shrimp Night's from Tim and Eric, right?
No. It's just
not.
It's not Shrim. Shrim is from Tim and Eric. Shrimp.
No.
Oh, you're thinking of the
boys with the shrimp and
it
the
wasn't,
white wine.
It's not. It wasn't even from that. It's just.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's just I needed a name.
It's a great name
for one of my shows on my podcast is several shows, and I needed a name. And I just came up with. We used to go to Shrimp Night, me and my friends, and just hang out all you can eat shrimp, and so that was the name. That was why that's the name. It has.
I
nothing
love
to do with
it.
shrimp.
I
Yeah.
love it even more now. I love it. I love when I saw it, I always thought of Tim and Eric because I'm thinking shrimp night. But it's even
It's
better.
about hanging out and eating shrimp with your friends.
I love that. We got the Chris's in the comments. Hey Chris, and hey Chris. Boy, we've been on a roll this week. This is the 4th show we've done this week. So check out Thunder Grunt, and Bob Rose on everything. They're on YouTube and Twitter and Instagram, and we'll do all the handles and credits and things a little bit later on. And then to the bottom of me, we have the mastermind, the head mastermind behind the Genre Blast Film Festival. He is, by the way, I should mention too that Bob is a writer, director, editor. He's a star. You know, he does everything. He does everything. He can take a lightsaber and stab it into his head and cause green goo to shoot out of his mouth. I've seen him do this. It's incredible. I just wanted to point that out. Below me is writer, director, an author. This man is getting himself published in all kinds of novellas and things. It's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful work. He's also a big shot film producer, and he doesn't say he's a big shot film producer. I'm calling him a big shot film producer. No, for real. This dude has started his a genre film festival called Genre Blast, and Genre Blast Film Festival has spurned Genre Blast films. They're making movies. They're not just showing movies. They're making movies. They just had a wonderful Indiegogo campaign where they raised money for the budget for an anthology that's based on a book of anthology stories called Worst Case Scenario?
Worst Laid Plans. You were close.
Sorry, Worst Laid Plans. You know me. I just suck with this shit. I'm terrible. It's a
lot of shit to remember.
Nathan, can you break it down for us a little bit with more detail than what I'm doing right now as to everything that?
Well, the book is Worst Laid Plans. It is an adaptation. I mean, the movie is an adaptation of that anthology. We picked 3 or 4 stories to film from that book. It's from Grindhouse Press. It's a really cool indie press. The book is edited by Samantha Koyesnik, my producing partner.
Sam. Shout out to Sam.
Amazing writer and director.
Amazing.
So yeah, we decided to, I don't know why we decided to do this, but we decided to produce a feature film. It was probably our last feature film that we produced. But we'll at least say that we had one and done. But no, it's been a pretty great experience so far. All the directors, I mean, Christopher Moore, Jeremy Herbert, and John Hale have all been really great to work with, and their stuff looks so cool so far. So we're really excited to get that out there next year, hitting the festival circuit next year, hopefully getting distribution and all that. So at the very least, if you come to Genre Blast, you'll see a screening of Worst Laid Plans. Regardless of where we premiere, we'll have it at Genre Blast for everybody to check out. So yeah, it's all vacation horror. I mean, there's cave monsters, and there's road trip from hell, and there's theme park abductions. It's all kinds of crazy shit in this anthology. And the great thing is that they're all different. There's none of them feel repetitive or samey. They're all very wildly different stories. So yeah, I'm excited about everybody getting a chance to check that one out. So,
and I'll tell you this about anthologies, and I've learned this, or at least this is how I feel. An anthology film, the thing that an anthology film needs to be successful, it doesn't necessarily have to tell a good story. It doesn't have to have stars in it. It doesn't have to, the thing that it has to do, it doesn't even have to have a lot of gore. There doesn't have to be a lot of sex or something. You know what it has to do, right? It has to have something fresh and new, unique from story to story to story. Something unique and memorable will make any anthology film feel awesome. And it sounds like you have 3, no matter what, that you have 3 fresh, really original ideas, and I can't wait to see what they look like on the big screen. That's what makes me love anthology horror so much, is that you're seeing something different, new in a short period of time, every 30 minutes or 20 minutes or 15 minutes, depending on how many stories there are. And it's just, I love it.
Oh, with a theme. This, vacation. It's
yes.
different, but it's still got a theme. It's
yes, that too. And that's another thing that's very important to some anthologies, not all of them. but a theme with an anthology too really just enlightens it. So check out Worst Laid Plans, and keep your tabs on the Genre Blast ecosystem for all the awesome things that are coming next year. With that out of the way, and we'll go back, we'll plug handles, we'll put it in the links in the comments in the description below. But with that all out of the way, we are here tonight to talk about zombies, ghouls, and the undead. Generally, the dead. That's what we think about. Not the Grateful Dead, not the Dead 3.0, not Dead and Company. We're not talking about music. We're talking about creatures that rise from beyond the grave. And, technically, are vampires also the undead? Yes, but we already did a vampire episode. So we're not here to talk about vampires tonight. We are going to keep it within the realm of these things. And you got a bunch of different types of creatures. You got your revenants, you got your zombies, you got your ghouls, you got your just general undead sort of people that don't really fall into any of those things. Typically, the rule of thumb is a zombie eats people who are living, and a ghoul eats people who are dead.
Question:
Go ahead.
Are sickos counted in this?
Sickos.
Sickos, as in Robert Rodriguez's term for what is in Planet Terror or what is in 28 Days Later, as in people who are infected but still have like they're not actually dead, but they have a working system of organs that are still functioning.
They're alive.
You could kill those zombies by shooting them in the heart still.
Right.
Like they're still alive and they can be killed like a normal human.
I would say that they fall under the realm of zombies, because zombies, here's the thing, and this is a hot take for you right now. The viral zombie, the viral outbreak victim in 28 Days Later is still technically a zombie, because they're just
controversial.
It's very controversial. They're rage-filled zombies. In the classical term of a zombie is like, a mindless sort of enslaved being to, one basic urge or purpose of some kind, usually that of a master. But in this case, it's chaos. But I would say that they still fall under zombie because zombies are technically living beings, or at least the original version.
I like the difference, though, that like in 28 Days Later, you can never have the a corner table zombie from Return of the Living Dead, because that can't happen. That zombie would just be dead flesh. But in Return of the Living Dead, there's almost nothing to that zombie left, and it's still alive.
Right.
And you can't. That wouldn't happen in like Planet Terror. You can't do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Are sickos? Those are. I forget it. Those are contagion based.
Yes.
As well.
Yeah. I mean, 28 Days Later.
Crazies, or 28 Days Later, or something like that.
I said sickos just because Robert Rodriguez called them that, but it might have a different term.
I think they all count, and I think that I think that there are just so many different and then you have different levels of zombies. Like within the zombie, you have the dead zombie, which George Romero confusingly calls a ghoul, which is separate from what an actual ghoul is. As we said, a ghoul is technically, some people say it's a supernatural creature, others it's a dead creature, but it's a creature that has the ability to think, and as I said, eats the dead flesh.
My mind, when you say ghoul, instantly goes to like Renfield. That's
right.
That's where my mind goes when that word is said.
Is he considered a ghoul in Dracula?
I thought so, isn't he? Or like the helper guy in Fright Night.
Yeah. He's more like Evil Ed is actually like he gets turned into like a vampire, though, right? So
yeah, Evil Ed's a vampire.
No, I didn't mean Evil Ed. I meant the guy helping.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the guy that melts,
who goes green.
Who turns into green goo. Isn't he a ghoul?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a ghoul. I don't know if Renfield. I think Renfield is just like a familiar, basically, right? He's still
a familiar.
Yeah.
And so is that guy, the guy who turns into green goo. But let's go back to before. There's really like a sort of driving line right? There's like a dividing line here, and it starts in 1968 when George Romero fuses all of these things, and he calls them ghouls, but he fuses all these things, and we get what's known as the modern zombie that follows the Romero set of rules. Can either one of you fill us in as to what exactly constitutes those rules, if you're familiar with them?
So, I mean, they're just slow moving zombies that eat the flesh or the brains of the living in order to keep motile, and that's pretty much it. It had to be slow moving, and eating flesh or brains. And if you're bitten, if you're alive and you're bitten, you turn into a zombie, and you have to shoot them. I don't know if shooting in the head was originally with Romero. I think that might have been Dawn of the Dead. Maybe I don't think that was
No,
introduced.
That starts in 1968.
Does it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. Basically, you covered most of the bases. You have a shambling, dead person. A bite is a death sentence unless you amputate. The only way to destroy the creature is with a bullet to the brain. It's a infectious contagion, and they just have strength in numbers. And you can't. Oh no, Bob's having issues here.
Uh-oh.
Bob, what's going on? You got an echo?
Let's do charades.
It wouldn't be a Frumess show if there wasn't a technical difficulty of some kind. Bob, 2 words. What's he saying? I can't. Bob.
He's going to go get a boom mic? Is that what he said?
You're going to go get a boom mic? Can you hear us, Bob? Give us a thumbs up. Oh, he bounced.
I think
he'll come back. He'll come back. I think he'll come back. Let's keep the show going. So right. So you have this dividing line, right? Where here he comes. He comes back right now.
I got all my sound went dead. I don't know why. Sorry.
That's so weird. Well, it wouldn't be as I was saying. I don't know if you heard me. It wouldn't be a Frumess show if there wasn't.
No, I heard nothing you guys said. It all went dead.
It wouldn't be a Frumess show if there wasn't some sort of technical difficulty.
Okay.
It always happens.
Sorry.
But no, there's like this dividing line, and before that, zombies come from a very specific folklore. From in their connection with voodoo, and basically it all shifts once Romero enters the scene and changes things, right? Because before that, a zombie is a person, as I said, it's someone who's under a spell. They can't talk, or they're in a daze. They're very strong. They toil for a long time, and then Romero decided to change his thing, and then all of a sudden we have this whole new idea of what a zombie is, and then that gets changed again with Return of the Living Dead in 1985, and with the addition of this gas, you have Dan O'Bannon, the guy who writes Aliens. He deconstructs the zombie mythology, and then does something so crazy for 1985, I think. And I challenge either one of you, can you think of an earlier example of something so meta as to make a sequel, an unofficial sequel to Night of the Living Dead, by saying that it was a movie, and that this is a continuation of the real story, and Night of the Living Dead is the movie version of that real story? It's kind of crazy.
It is.
Yeah, I can't think of a different example of that.
That's super meta for 19. I think he wrote that in 1983, actually. So, between writing something as crazy and original as Alien, and then rewriting the zombie lore. Okay, Romero, he's basically going against the grain. Romero has slow-moving zombies. My zombies are going to be fast. Romero's zombies don't talk. My zombies are going to talk. Romero's zombies can't think. My zombies can use weapons and tools and manipulate the police and paramedics to come to the scene of the crime, so we can basically ordering takeout over
can I confess
TV.
something too? Like that is my first zombie movie. I saw it like in the mid 90s because of Joe Bob. And that was the first time I'd ever seen a zombie movie. I hadn't seen Night of the Living Dead or anything. So that kind of defined it for me first before I got to Romero.
I think that's actually quite awesome.
I think Day of the Dead was my first zombie movie, and
wow,
I was very young, and that scene where he gets torn apart, that fucked me up really good. Because
choke on him.
Oh my god, choke on him.
Choke on him.
Yeah, so I started hot and heavy with zombie movies with that one. It's kind of hard to go up after that.
Day is kind of like the most nihilist too of
all god.
Three, so.
It's so dark.
For a kid, that is rough.
But the commentary in terms of what's going on today in society, like it is so it's such a relevant movie. That's that's a testament to George and his ideas. The fact that Night of the Living Dead is still relevant today, like super contemporary, especially with that ending. And then to do, again, with Day of the Dead and the conflict, the scene that the tension that he creates, because here's the thing too. And this is, in my opinion, and you can really say this about the best zombie films, sans something like Dead Alive, where it really is about the spectacle. Like we don't care about the people that much. Maybe like the story with what's his name, Nigel and his mother. Yeah, we care. The thing about Nigel and his mother, but like that's just all about going from one goofy.
Dead Alive isn't like social commentary, really.
Right. It's not at all. There's nothing.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Oh no, totally fine. But the best thing about zombie movies is never the zombies. It's not. It's always the human interactions. For some people who were with us on Tuesday when we did our Night of the Frumess Dead, we watched Night of the Living Dead on the channel. I'm going to sound like I'm repeating myself, but like the best parts about Night of the Living Dead it's not the zombie action. Same thing with Dawn of the Dead. Same thing with Day of the Dead. It is the incredibly tense, character-driven moments between humans.
Same thing with Shaun of the Dead,
even Shaun of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
That's why that's a classic, is because it does exactly the same type of thing.
So true, man. And you look at a film like going back to Day of the Dead for a minute, the scene in the mess hall between John Amplas, who plays the scientist, and Laurie Cardill, who plays Sarah, and Colonel Rhodes, played by Joe Pilato.
Mm-hmm.
When he's like, "You better sit down or I'm going to shoot you." And he goes, "Steel, shoot her." He goes, "Bang, you're dead." And he's like, "No, Steel, shoot her." It is so tense. You could cut the tension with a knife. And, again, we got all the gore. When you're younger, you're like, yeah, Day of the Dead, it's the most goriest film ever. Love it. But when I watch Day of the Dead today, the best scene in that film is not Rhodes telling him to choke on him. It is absolutely that scene in the mess hall when they're just masterfully done by Romero, in my opinion.
They get better as you mature.
Uh-huh.
But they still hold up if you just want the gore, right? Like,
yeah.
It works on both levels, so...
the third one is my personal favorite of the trilogy. I think Day of the Dead works. I mean, they're all classic films. That's probably arguably the best trilogy consistency wise. But for some reason, the nihilism of the third one, I love it. I love nihilistic themes in movies.
I find myself watching that one the most
mm-hmm.
out of the three. But I want to confess something to you two. This is probably sacrilege. I actually prefer Tom Savini's Night of the Living Dead.
It's a hell of a good movie.
That movie, phenomenal remake, dude.
I'm not saying it's better. I just prefer it.
It's not surprisingly good.
You're allowed to.
Yeah,
you're allowed to do that. Even though
that was the first Night of the Living Dead I saw too. I didn't see the original. I saw that one first, and I thought that was Night of the Living Dead, and then I was like, "Oh no, wait, this is the remake."
Me too. I thought that was the original, also.
Yeah.
But for a remake, especially back then, holy shit, it's a really good movie.
So it has a distinction, this remake, and I do agree. I think it's one of the finest horror remakes. And mind you, it's coming off the '80s, and we've talked about on this show before. We've talked in previous episodes about how you have the golden era for remakes in the '80s, where we're just getting mind-boggling. Like the Holy Trinity is The Blob, The Fly, and The Thing, right?
Right.
But we have this bleed through where you have Night of the Living Dead 1990 and you have Invasion of the Body Snatchers 78, which technically aren't in the 80s, but are absolutely part of that cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And those 5 movies that I just named, I mean, just like infallible, impeccable remakes. And what makes Night of the Living Dead stand out from all of them is that the original writer director wrote that script. He was basically, what was it? 22 years after the first one, was basically given a second bite of the apple where he could go back. As many artists, filmmakers, I'm sure, even in our level, in our realm of filmmaking, when you think about your past work and you think, if I was given another chance with a bigger budget to go back and revise my work, which to the artist is always going to feel flawed, right? It's always going to be flawed, no matter how much we think it's a masterpiece.
You're not an artist if you're happy with your work.
Right, right. And we all revere, I revere Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why I shouldn't feel too guilty about it, because it is still called George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead, right? Like that's
the cell. That's the cell.
That's
put
the cell,
butts in seats, but
I mean, his involvement makes me not feel yucky about saying that.
Yeah,
And I think Tom Savini, who better to have directed that, and it's like he's such a legend. I don't know. I think it should get more love, and I don't see it having as much love as it deserves.
Well, it was neutered. The film was neutered. It was supposed to be way more violent. It was supposed to have way more stuff in it. Savini was trying to. He never got to work on the first one because he went to Vietnam, the war, and so this was a big deal for him as well. And so he really was going to pull out all the stops, especially after Day of the Dead, and he was not able to. But Romero got a chance to rewrite Barbara in a way that I think we all love Barbara. However, Barbara in the original film is very misunderstood. People love to criticize Romero and say Barbara is, written as this helpless woman who is scared out of her wits.
Damsel in distress, right?
Right. Yeah. Damsel in distress. And I call bully on that because, one day I was rewatching Night of the Living Dead and it suddenly hit me like a sack of bricks, and this is what they talk about because they love to make parables about the Vietnam War in Night of the Living Dead. But one day it came back and was like, whoa, wait a minute. Friggin', she's not a damsel in distress. She's not helpless. She's suffering from serious PTSD. She is having a total mental breakdown over what's happened. And then suddenly all the Vietnam War stuff started to make sense to me. And what
might not read to a modern audience, maybe.
I don't think it does. And you want to know something? When she rises to at the very end, her arc, she has this very complete arc where she overcomes her fear to save Helen's life, and in the process sacrifices herself to save Helen. And it's sort of like this selfless action that she takes that ultimately leads to her death, a most terrifying death, nonetheless. So, and Helen dies.
I mean, even if he did take criticism for that, like you just said, he wrote the remake, and he grew. He fixed what he saw maybe as a problem, because she is definitely not the same character in that movie. I mean, the biggest twist in the whole movie is how the end goes, right, with her shooting Cooper.
Right.
Yeah, that's definitely a different character,
and it's great.
Oh, it's great. I love that ending. Yeah,
but
to be fair, I would be a blubbering mess just like her if the zombie apocalypse were real. I would be in the basement losing my shit too. So
I mean, I lost my shit from the pandemic. Of course, I'm shit from a zombie apocalypse.
The one other thing I'll say about this, and then I want to ask you guys a question. Marinate on this while I say what I'm about to say. What's your ideal zombie, and what do you want to see in a zombie movie that we haven't seen yet? Those are two questions I want to ask you both. the difference between Harry Cooper's in Night of the Living Dead 90 versus the original. In Night of the Living Dead 90, Harry Cooper is just an obnoxious like prick, like just a complete prick. He's an insufferable bastard. The original Harry Cooper is way more nuanced. There's way more nuance to him. He's not. Here's what this is why Night of the Living Dead, why I venerate the original Night of the Living Dead. Nobody's actually the bad guy. Like nobody, even Harry Cooper, who is just a jerk. He's a jerk. He's selfish. He's a coward, and he suffers from a fragile white male ego that ultimately gets him killed. But he's still just a guy, an average family man who wants to ultimately keep his family safe, and ultimately is just prejudiced against Ben. Now, you could read into the subtext of that.
I was about to say, like, yes, what you're saying is right, but he's a racist. So,
well, but hold on though. He was a racist. He becomes a racist because of how they cast the film. That they were always intending to cast Ben as a white guy. It just so happens that Dwayne Jones was the best guy for the role, and they all unanimously agreed. There was no reservation in casting Ben. In casting a black guy. They're like, is this like a really like progressive thing to do? No, they just chose him because he was the guy. However, in doing that, they rewrote the whole movie.
Yeah.
Completely rewrote the movie. All of the tension suddenly becomes racial. Like you're like, oh, why are they angry at each other? It's not just because they're two alpha males. He's white and he's black.
I would also say though, I don't know, but do you guys feel like that racial tension is part of 90? I feel like Cooper's an insufferable prick, but I don't feel like that bleeds out as a reason in that movie.
No, you're absolutely right. It's different. Yeah. That's what I mean though. It's super friggin' different. In 90, George Romero rewrites him as a antagonist who is like supposed to be the bad guy. In the original film, everybody is basically what's the word? They are circumstances. Victim
of circumstance.
They're victims of their own circumstance within the thing. They're all under pressure. They're in this pressure cooker, and they all react in certain ways. But nobody is like a straight up bad guy. Even an antagonist and a protagonist. And you guys are both writers. You guys are more writers than me. Like an antagonist does not necessarily mean that they are the bad guy. They are just they're a roadblock of conflict for the protagonist on their journey. And that's what Harry Cooper is in the original Night of the Living Dead. But in that sequel, he's just an asshole.
Oh, yeah, he's a complete prick. Yeah.
Yeah. So
the best casting ever too. Like,
yeah. Oh, he's great.
Just like incredible casting. Yeah.
So answer my questions. What do you like in your zombies, and what is something that you have not seen from the zombie genre but would like to see? And here's a third question. What are some sort of in between, like what are some weird and ambiguous movies that contain zombies or zombie adjacents that fall under Ghoul or Undead or whatever?
Well, I'll answer one part of
your
first thing.
Go.
I'll give Nathan a chance to think too. That's a lot of stuff, Jeff.
That's a lot of stuff. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
I can tell you this, as you know, as a large fellow, I've always had kind of a problem with running zombies, because with running zombies, to me, I'm just like, you know what, just eat me. I'll watch the movies. Don't get me wrong. I'll watch the movies, but I'm like, it's so hopeless. like if they can run, I'm dead instantly, so I don't even care. Like, I'm gone. I have no hope. Romero zombies, I might be able to do some stuff. I might be okay. But running zombies, to me, it's just too dangerous. Or even sickos, or anyone, like any of them that can have mobility like that.
Right.
The storytelling, I tend to think like there's almost no way the characters can do this. It's only because it's fiction they can live through this. It's insane. It's kind of stupid how fast they are, you know. And I love some movies of running zombies. Dawn of the Dead remake is a fun movie. Zombieland, I like Zombieland. You know, like, yeah, there's movies that have made it work, But in the end, I'm like, the running just takes all the fun out of it for me. You know, because just like the situation, because like Ramirez, it's a relatable situation where almost anyone can be a hero in that world.
Right.
Because you don't really need to run. You just need a baseball bat and limited mobility, and you can probably take out a good share of zombies and maybe make it to safety. There's hope there.
Right.
You know, in a very nihilist world. Whereas running, it ruins it for me a bit.
You know, you make a good point. I kind of want to expand on that just a little bit.
Sure.
It seems like and I like both kinds. I don't poo-poo on either one. But when you have slow zombies, it's the social commentary film. And when you have fast zombies, it's the visceral action.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Holy shit. I never put that together.
I want to see a fast zombie movie that's got social commentary in it at the same time, because that would be the scariest fucking movie ever made. There's no way anyone would survive a fast zombie apocalypse. You literally would have to find a place to hide forever, because there's no, like, I would be like Bob. I would just put a gun in my mouth. If I see a fast moving mob of zombies, I would just blow my brains out.
Yeah, well, I'm like, I could try running, but I know that is just.
They're dead. They will just keep running. Like, you can.
Dude, you kind of just blew my mind. I never put that together. That is you just absolutely came up with a rule of thumb. If it's a slow, shambling zombie film, there's going to be social commentary, satire, like some sort of message. And if it's a fast zombie movie, it is all about popcorn, action. We're here for the zombies.
Nothing wrong with that either.
Nothing wrong with either one. Nothing wrong with either one.
I just rewatched the Dawn of the Dead remake the other night, as a matter of fact, and it's a lot of fun. No social commentary whatsoever, but it's a fun film. You know, it's an action movie basically.
I mean, James Gunn does great character work. He doesn't necessarily do commentary.
Yeah.
You know,
some classic James Gunn dialogue in that film too.
Have you ever heard Simon Pegg talk about why he prefers slow zombies? I remember this is literally an article like 12 years ago or something, but he said he prefers it because to him the zombies are representative of health, and like your baseball bat and your shotgun are like eating well and exercising or not smoking, and its death is slowly creeping up on all of us. And our little weapons that we use to push it back are just like the little weapons you have to push back the slow horde moving at you. So he's like, when that's all, that metaphor in his mind is removed when they're fast, because then they just leap on you and it's basically a heart attack. You die instantly,
right?
Instead of the slow creeping death that we all are rotting as we live. You know, like I loved that little thought that I never heard before back when he said it.
It's basically turning on cheat code. Like it's basically turning on God mode when there's fast zombies. It's like, well, fuck it. I got to find like
IDKFA
tree or hide in a basement and don't ever fucking come out because
you're just going to die of starvation then. So either way,
exactly. You know, and there's no time to prepare because there's constantly roving bands of sprinting zombies. So it's not like you can like, oh, I got a breather. There's a mob over there. You know, like I can prepare for the night. No, they're all over the place. You're dead.
I'll give it to Zombieland because they kind of had like a tiered zombie speed thing going on in that movie, where like the fast ones are kind of the new fresh ones. And then there's some that are shamblers still. You know, there was like
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that. If you've eaten brains or something recently, then you're faster. And if you're a zombie that hasn't had anything in a while, you're just slow. I like that. That makes more sense to me.
You know, I love the fast zombies because even though Night of the Living Dead is my favorite film, or
ever?
I think it might be when people ask me what is your bestest film of all time, like straight up, there's no answer to that. Every film I love movies. I can't answer that. But if you're making me write down, if you have a gun to my head, I have to write down one movie, it's always going to be Night of the Living Dead. However, Return of the Living Dead is my pleasure. Like I just admire this film, and the script is like a religion to me. Like I worship the script. I just think it's just the greatest sense of storytelling. I've talked about it endlessly on this channel, just about how every scene informs the next scene, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then at the end comes, and O'Bannon's like, shit, what do I do? Oh yeah, I'll just blow everybody up. And he does. And that's it. Like, that's just the end. And the zombies,
also, they can't die either. which is
They cannot die. He creates an unstoppable menace that is sentient. And I'll take it one step further, because I'm such a nerd.
And he blames the whole thing on us. Specifically,
Yes.
There's a reason, and it's our fault. It is not some mysterious thing. It is
Right.
our doing completely.
The opening of that movie is so brilliant, because if you are just stumbling upon that, you're like, what the fuck is this? Like, how long are these guys going to talk for? But like, it's got some of the best dialogue in a movie ever.
Look at the shot economy. Look at the way that the shots are composed. There's like a oneer in there, just this unbroken take that's establishing Frank and Freddy as they're going through the job. And some of that dialogue is actually left over from when Tobe Hooper was supposed to direct the film. He had this whole idea to do skeletons from India. And so that got Bannon, who was a total control freak and totally like believed in the auteur sort of like model, like was so open to ideas and collaboration at the same time. Like, for instance, the whole crematorium setup, the whole idea of Frank basically cremating himself, that was James Cameron's idea.
Beautiful.
And beautiful scene. Macabre scene too. He went to Dan O'Bannon. He goes, Dan, I should, because if you read the novelization, if you look at the script, he just orders himself a taxi to go home, and that's the end. That's just the end of him. And he's like, what if I burn myself because I don't want to eat brains? And Dan's like, that's brilliant. That's what you're doing. And they even throw in the little line. He says, this is so easy. Some favor. I could have operated this thing myself, which he would literally be doing in a few hours.
Set up some payoffs.
Set up the best payoff. And these zombies they are absolutely terrifying. And you know what makes them terrifying? Because they're not really, some of them are makeup jobs, but not, the Tar Man, obviously, but some of them they're just people covered in mud in the pouring rain, screaming and running around and like attacking you like all at once. And in the novelization, again, written by John Russo, they're using bricks to like crack open skulls and scoop out the brains inside. I mean, it is just grisly stuff.
They're using tools like the 2001 ape. Like
right.
They still have the motor skills and the opposable thumbs.
Well, they have the know-how. They have the brains.
Also, once again, what's scary to me about Return of the Living Dead is like the fact that all flesh is up for grabs. All flesh can be reanimated, like the half dog and the frozen corpses. Yeah, like it's just all up for grabs. That's terrifying to me.
What's also terrifying is the way they change in that movie. Usually, you get bit and it's like, oh, I get a fever and then I'm dead and then I come back. It feels like they're literally going insane when they change into zombies in that movie, and it's terrifying.
Rigor mortis.
It's also hilarious, which is it's like it's really funny. Like that's what I kind of love about that movie too. Is like that, their transformation is both terrifying and absolutely hilarious with their wails of pain and screaming. I've never laughed at wails of pain and screaming like that.
But you know what's funny? Just like how we discussed previously, we were talking about Reanimator. I think I don't know. I think this came up. The tone of Return of the Living Dead is the same as Reanimator in that what these people are doing, or these actors are acting, the material is treated so seriously, despite it being so ridiculous, that the comedy is purely a byproduct, and not in like a room way, not in like a Tommy Wiseau way. The comedy, it just sort of translates. It's super dry, like so dry, like beyond Tim Burton, Edward Scissorhands, or Beetlejuice dry. Like if dry was wet, it would be the dry. It would be the dryness. Like that's how dry it is, and it translates to humor somehow. You know?
In those situations, you never want to have your characters laughing with the script.
Right.
You
never.
You want them to be aware that they're funny. Like that's like rule number one. No matter how silly the movie is,
they pour 1,000%.
Don't let them know that it's silly. Yeah.
Well, Return of the Living Dead, I think it's definitely got more of a satirical bent. And I feel like Reanimator is more of an absurdist bent because everything in that movie, even with the head, like it's all played
the head giving head.
Exactly. So you have to go, that whole scene, it just gets bloodier and bloodier, but everybody has got a straight face on. And you have to, I was in tears the first time I watched that movie when the blood just keeps amping up and amping up. And I was like dying laughing, but it's a serious film, but it wants you to laugh.
Serious.
Yes. I mean, Stuart Gordon knows what he's doing.
They want you to laugh. That's exactly, it's like these types of films, and Reanimator and Return of the Living Dead have that same sort of kismet energy. By the way, Brian Yuzna, producer of Reanimator, was supposed to do something with Dan O'Bannon, and it never materialized. And I asked him, I said, what was the project? Because I interviewed him for this channel. It hasn't dropped yet. Nice. I said, what was the project? And 3 hours. It's coming. 3 hours. Awesome. Big one.
Oh, yeah.
I said, what was the project? He's like, he couldn't remember. He couldn't remember what it was. But that.
A thought I just had, though. Now, I keep coming back to these two, so I apologize that I keep coming back to Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright. But we're talking about the nuance, the perfection of Return of the Living Dead, also Reanimator. But I remember too, like I remember when I saw them in person, Edgar Wright said, like, it's funny that we're talking about Return of the Living Dead because he considers Return of the Living Dead Part 2 is actually when zombies needed to go away.
Oh,
like I actually like Part 2, but Part 2 does commit the sin of the characters laughing with them. They get it. The characters are in on it, and there's like the Michael Jackson zombie, and it's like, you know, I remember him saying, like, that's when I think we all knew it needed to take a break for the 90s. Like,
you know who plays that zombie?
Who, the Michael Jackson zombie?
Yes, that's Scuzz in the original Return of the Living Dead.
Oh, okay.
Same guy.
I did not know that.
Dare I say, Part 3 is the best sequel by far. By far.
Part 3 is cool. Yeah.
Yes.
One of my favorite films. One of my favorite films of all time.
And that was straight to video too. Yeah, straight to video.
It had a very limited theatrical run. I think it was 2 weeks. I think. Don't quote me on that. I'm almost. I have to. Again, we talked about it in depthly with Brian Yuzna, and the original ending to Return of the Living Dead 3 is pretty insane. It's supposed to happen in a graveyard. Basically, what happens in the sewers happens in this graveyard.
Is that never seen, or are you saying it was originally written like that? Or
it was originally written. It was never filmed.
Oh, okay.
It was supposed to take place in a graveyard, and it was supposed to be the army against mechanized zombies that are turned on the army, something like that. And then the coda, the epilogue that we get at the end. Because that's what makes that movie crazy. And I also interviewed the writer of that film as well. John Penny came on after Brian Yuzna, and we talked about it. And what's so crazy about I was like, where do you get off? Usually you would end the film right when she freezes up and the kid is rescued, and that's the end of the movie. And then you tack on this ending that's so dark, so bleak, so gut-wrenching after all these characters have been through. It's brilliant. It was absolutely like devastating. And the fact that it's the third movie in a sequel trilogy is like so bizarre to me. Like, it should just be called Kurt and Julie. Like, don't call it Return of the Living Dead 3. I just want Kurt and Julie. And
I've never seen 4. Is that continue that?
No.
Okay, I've never seen 4,
no,
so I admit
it. Dare not speak of 4 or 5.
Oh, God, I've never seen 5 either.
Race to the Grave and Necropolis, they're both terrible.
Yes, yes. But Brian Yuzna wrote a sequel to Part 3 that he has a treatment for. It's called Hail Mary, and it takes place some years after what happens in Part 3, where basically everybody lives in an enclosed city because the dead have gotten out of control, and just craziness. Matter of fact, Part 3. Sorry,
is that a reflection to like Land of the Dead?
No, it's like there's this girl, Hail Mary, and she's a zombie who like learned how to like live with the fact that she has to eat brains. And these kids, they like go beyond the barrier. It kind of like Judge Dredd. That's how I imagine it. Like, you know, the no man's land out of the side of the mega city. That's where my imagination went. And
I'm an unabashed fan of that movie.
So am I. I love it. Love it.
I love both. I love both versions.
Which one is this now?
Both versions.
Yeah.
Judge Dredd.
Judge Dredd.
And Dredd.
Oh, Judge Dredd 1 is a lot of fun for
so much
different
fun.
reasons.
It's a terrible adaptation, but tell me it's not a fun movie.
It is a fun as fuck action movie.
It is
Absolutely.
So
it's great.
I mean, Armand Desante. I mean,
150% on his performance.
And that
insane.
robot, that robot's really great
Joan
too.
Chen, Diane Lane. I mean,
Even
Jürgen
Rob
Prochnow,
Schneider. He's good in that movie.
Max von Sydow. That's Rob Schneider's best film.
And it's 90s future tech, which is my favorite kind of future
tech. It looks good. I love
90s future tech.
It has like Blade Runner level set design at some point.
Yeah,
it's really good.
It really does.
I think if it wasn't Dredd, it would have.
You gotta do.
I'm sorry.
You gotta do an episode on Judge Dredd.
I would.
I will. Hey, well, let's do it. Let's do it. And Last Action Hero.
Oh yes, I'm down.
I want to pitch you guys. I want to pitch you guys my Laurie Strode version of Last Action Hero. You fucking love it. You will fucking love this.
Last horror hero.
Kind of. I'll explain. Here's something that we've started to get more in recent like zombie like films, but I want to keep exploring this. We talked about zombieism as a contagion, but then there's the reverse, not the reverse, but then you have the zombie plight in the realm of body horror, where it's usually one zombie and that zombie is sentient and deals with the pitfalls of becoming a zombie. And it starts with films like My Boyfriend's Back, which is absolutely just a masterpiece.
I have the Blu-ray. I'm not even kidding you.
I have the I think I have the DVD. I don't think I have a Bluray, but that
Bob Balaban is like kind of an unsung horror director, isn't he? I mean, like he made Parents and
yes, he did Parents too, and early PSH is in that. Philip Seymour Hoffman, and
as Chuck,
who gets his guts munched on, and then you have a film like, I don't know if you've seen this. This is a deep cut. This is from like VHS rental store days. Who remembers motherfucking Fangoria presents I, Zombie, A Chronicle of Pain? No? No takers?
You got me, man. I got nothing.
Oh, man.
I'm trying to think, and I'm not coming up with anything.
Okay, I'm not going to spoil anything, but and there's a sequel, too, called Dead Creatures. Basically, guy gets bitten by a zombie and shuts himself off in his English flat and basically chronicles his decay and descent into becoming a zombie, a sentient zombie. And it's it's just really dark, really grim. Everything that you could imagine about being a zombie, except this dude is just narrating himself as he's rotting and having to eat people, and just the lengths that he goes, and he like misses his like girlfriend. And some stuff happens in that a little bit. And then you definitely should watch it. The sequel is called Dead Creatures, which is about it's like a coven of flesh-eating women who basically learn to have this nomadic life where they're basically on a what's it called? The time they don't have a lot of time because they're rotting. So they basically like go about their business eating people and don't have much time. And like the eldest one is the most deteriorated, and eventually
are they contagious, or it's just them?
They are contagious.
Okay,
everybody's contagious, and that one has a little bit more of a story to it, and they're directed by this guy. I'll send you the letterbox for it. Definitely check it out.
I added it to my watch list just now. So
Nathan, I think that's really going to be up your alley. I think you're going to really like it, and it's a concept that we have not seen enough of. I love the notion. It to me is terrifying, absolutely terrifying. Of like fighting against your body rotting, and
I feel like the vampire genre has tackled that more for obvious reasons, because vampires are sentient more often. So the zombie movies haven't done it as much, maybe.
Right, because it's more about like me coming to grips with becoming a vampire in that kind of way.
Right, like that's something, or a werewolf. Either one of those makes more sense than
the
notion of coming to grips with being a zombie, right?
Which is why it's so fresh. For me, it's a very fresh sort of idea that has not been explored enough. And then you have like what's the one what is it?
Warm
Warm
Bodies.
Bodies.
Warm Bodies, which is kind of goofy, but has some cool ideas in it. I just want to see more films like that. And then, of course, you also have the playing on Return of the Living Dead 3. You have films like Life After Beth, where, my lover is a zombie. You have Ed and his dead mother.
Oh God, I love that movie. That's a cable staple
I'm
of my
so
life.
glad that you know that movie.
Oh, dude, it used to be on
so
cable
happy.
constantly. I used to talk about it. No one would know what it is.
Bro, I fucking know what that
I was like,
movie
it's
is.
Steve Buscemi. How does no one know what this is? Yeah.
Nate, have you seen this film?
Let me hold it. It sounds very familiar. I probably have. Let me look at it.
Nathan, it's
John
Buscemi,
Glover.
John Glover, yeah.
Oh,
Baltimore hometown pride. John Glover.
I think I've seen this.
Okay,
it's super weird and funny, and
weird.
Ned Beatty.
Oh my God, I think I have seen this.
The cast is killer. It is killer.
It's so killer. And you want to know something? On my last revisit, I noticed that there seems to be a giant chunk of that story has been cut out of the movie. Like it just jumps in. There are several places where the narration kind of jumps. You're kind of going, holy crap. And it's just like, it's never gotten a Blu-ray release. There's not much known about it. It's just like a little.
It was on Amazon Prime in HD. I know that like a few years ago, I did watch it on Amazon Prime. So it does have an HD print. So check. It probably is for rent at least.
It doesn't matter what you look up on Letterboxd. Everything is like a 2.9. It's like, come on.
And they rated Ed and his dead mother a 2.9?
Yeah.
Letterboxd isn't for people who enjoy watching movies.
No,
I have a Letterboxd account. I know. Yeah.
I rate movies on Letterboxd. I know there are some people, especially filmmakers, that like don't rate stuff because it's like they're trying to be like.
I don't. Yeah.
Oh, you don't. Okay, so you're one of them. But like,
I actually don't like deciding it. I don't like personally like
it's
deciding
tough.
How many stars something gets.
I change my ratings all the time, like based on how I feel. I'll go back and change everything.
I just do like or not like. That's it. That's enough for me.
You know what's funny? I will watch a movie. I'll have my rating decided, and then I go and I see how my peers rate it. And it's not because I'm trying to copy. Sometimes I feel like I'm too harsh. Sometimes I feel like I'm too generous, and I really trust people's opinions. So I'm going, am I being like a little? Oh, and there are movies that I rate 5 stars that are definitely not 5-star movies, but they're 5 stars to me, so I rate them 5 stars. I kind of make up my own rules.
I've resorted to making my account more jokey. Because I read a lot of Letterboxd stuff, and I'm like, do these people know they're not writing for a major publication? Like,
oh my God,
they get some of them,
paragraphs of just
paragraphs, and I'm just like, this is your Letterboxd account. Like, why are we doing this?
Or it's the other way around. It's they think it's Twitter, so they have to make a joke. And it's like a 1-sentence joke. It's not even a review. It's just like,
well, I do that, Nathan.
It's like a comment.
No, but you're actually funny. I'm just talking about people that like, Steve Buscemi one time took a shit in my bathroom.
Oh, you know, like a cynicism, right? Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
It's a very interesting community.
Yeah,
truly.
It is. I mean, I'm happy to have an account, but
I would rate I don't know if I rated Ed and his dead mother on Letterboxd, but if I did, I'd probably give it 4 stars. Is it a 4-star movie? I don't think so, but to me, it is. I love it. I
rate movies, but I'm pretty easy on them. And I also don't go out of my way to watch movies I know I'm not going to like anymore. Yeah. I used to do that, but I don't have time for that anymore. So I usually tend to watch, as far as new stuff, I watch stuff I'm interested in, or I know I'm probably going to like.
But I gave Halloween 6 1 star because it deserved 1 star, and I don't know what else to say. But then I know that there are like really bad sequels to movies that I really enjoyed and like gave way more stars despite not having business. So I kind of created my own ethical.
Taste is a spectrum, man.
Yeah.
And none of us all agree on everything, right?
Nope.
Like, it's just not true. Like the other day, I'm admitting it on your podcast. I enjoyed Hubie Halloween.
So did I.
Yeah.
So did I.
Yeah. I said, good for you, Bob. Good for you. Like, I haven't seen it yet, but I heard everybody trashing it. I was like, somebody's out there's got to like it.
I have a few friends who liked it. I have a few friends who hated it. I was like, but I don't have shame in saying I liked something that everyone hates.
I rated Hubie Halloween 2.5 stars because I thought it was a 2.5-star film. However, the review that I left.
Movie. Right, yeah.
Here's the deal. I legitimately like The Nun. I like that movie. I think it's a
I've
fun
never seen
movie.
it.
No, it's okay.
And
I don't hate it.
most people hate it, and I'm just like, okay, that's fine. But I think I posted about it. I liked it, and people were like, "What's wrong with you? Like, are you dumb?" Like, and I'm like, "Come on, it's fun. It's a stupid horror movie. I liked it.
It's got great atmosphere.
The atmosphere and the set design,
yeah,
just so good."
I had
Oh
I had a paid gig where I watched every Conjuring movie and edited a Joe Blow video for all the jump scares. I had to watch every single continuous movie, and so my viewing of The Nun was like at the point where I was just like, oh, I can't stand this anymore. And I was like, I'm like waiting, like pausing the movie every 5 minutes. Like, is that a jump scare? Does that count? But that video has 2 million views now, so whatever. I mean,
my God.
Yeah, whatever.
You'll take it.
Those Annabelle movies, especially the first one, I was just like, all right, I'm tapping out of these Conjuring movies.
I'm sorry, Jeff.
Can't watch it.
I know we're not talking about it, but that first Annabelle movie, it's terrible.
It's terrible.
But there's something that's heartwarming where the guy thought he was making a Rosemary's Baby. Like, that movie thinks it's like incredible.
I have not seen
it,
by the way.
Isn't. Yeah,
and that's Annabelle Wallace in the lead, and she turns around and does a fucking amazing performance in Malignant. like
a
180 completely.
I also thought Annabelle Creation wasn't bad.
It was okay. I love the last one the best.
All of these.
I've seen every Conjuring movie.
I've seen the whole universe because of that video.
Wow.
Because I had to make a video. Yeah.
The only one I actively disliked was the first Annabelle. And then most of them are just fine. And there are a couple that are really good.
mean, in that whole series, the Conjuring one is kind of the only one I'd say is.
That's the only one I've seen. I've seen the first Conjuring.
That's a solid movie. I'd say that's a solid movie. And then the rest, they vary.
There's parts of the second one that are excellent.
Yes.
And there's parts of it that are just kind of there.
She's in The Addiction. The one that's Abel Ferrara's Addiction.
Lily Taylor.
Yeah, Lily Taylor. That's the same.
I was going to say, speaking of this, though, I'd love to see Juan try out a zombie movie.
Let's talk about that.
I think he could reinvent it a little bit too.
What would a James Wan zombie film look like?
Insane. Absolutely insane.
Yeah, I would think it'd be nuts. I mean, like, I'm not trying to derail it, but I mean, the response to Malignant was divisive as hell.
Oh yeah.
Like it was like literally 50-50. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It was a litmus
I actually
test.
loved it.
It was a litmus test.
I had close friends who like viscerally hated it.
No, I liked it too.
Yeah.
I had it spoiled for me, but I still liked it when I watched it. That jailhouse scene was fucking amazing.
I mean, talk about comedy, but talk about unintentional comedy. Like the movie is so serious about that scene, and it's
so serious and
hilarious.
It's also incredibly stupid.
But every scene there's a line or a musical cue that's talking about it being her and in her head. Like every single scene. If you go back and watch it, it's all planted in there. It's all like one big wink. But you're either with the twist or you're not. If you're not, then it's the worst movie you've ever seen. But if you like crazy shit like that, you're like, oh my God. Like, yes.
So what would James Wan write for a zombie film? Where does he take it in knowing James Brand's brand?
His movies don't strike me as theme movies. Like we were talking about, like Romero does theme.
Yeah.
I don't feel that from Juan. Really.
So it would be fast zombies out of the question. I mean,
I would think it would be a genre bender, like he seems to like doing, right? Like he would figure out what he loves about zombies, then amp it up to 11, I guess.
Sentient zombies that have their own sovereign nation within the United States and are slowly trying to expand and have Matrix-like human farms for sustenance.
That's a very expensive idea.
It is, but
that's like I Frankenstein level, maybe bad.
Oh my God.
Oh my God! You had to go to I Frankenstein.
You want to know something?
Nathan, it is one of the biggest disasters I've ever seen in my life.
It was one of the most boring films I've ever seen in my life.
I turned it off after 10 minutes. I didn't.
How can you take a concept that would make a 12-year-old boy?
I did like a watch party.
So boring.
I did a watch party with that, and I literally said, oh fuck, they're gonna want to make an army of Frankensteins to use their blood, aren't they? I said that at the first 5 minutes, and I was like, oh my God, I was fucking right. Like I couldn't believe I was right. I was like the most obvious plot point.
Oh, that's enough. Okay.
And of course, Frankenstein is like Aaron Eckhart. He's got a couple stitches all over him, but he's still
sexy,
devastatingly handsome.
Yeah,
very fuckable Frankenstein, basically.
Yes.
Which brings me to a very important point. Frankenstein is also within the realm of the undead.
Yeah.
Life created from dead flesh, which also ties into body horror, which also ties into that style.
You don't hear him mentioned with zombies, though.
What do you mean?
I don't usually hear Frankenstein mentioned with him.
But he is a reanimated creature.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying it's not usually.
No, never.
He's more of a revenant. Maybe we can put Frankenstein in more of a revenant.
Can you give me a definition of a revenant? Like, I've heard it and I kind of understand
it's like a returned dead person who has intelligence, who has all his memory
and does not consume human beings necessarily either.
But does drink blood, I believe, or something. It does
sometimes.
Yeah.
So there's
a film called Revenant. There's a film called Revenant.
The Revenant is
The Revenant,
great movie.
Yeah,
yeah.
That end scene is so fucking badass. I want to see that movie. That is that end scene where he gets spoilers. Has everybody seen it?
Are you talking about the one with the guy who comes home from the war?
Yes.
And then him and his friends start robbing banks.
Yes.
And you're not talking about DiCaprio. Yeah.
Yes.
Talking about Carrie Pryor's The Revenant. Yes.
Yeah. Have you seen it, Bob?
I have not. No.
It's really, really good.
I don't want to spoil it. You definitely see it. Definitely check it out.
I'll add it to my watch list.
Which
I was going to say though,
I
wanted to say I used to have this. I probably still do. There's a book about like zombie cinema, like up until about like 2005. I remember I read the entire thing, and there was some begrudging entries in there, and the Revenant thing kind of reminded me of the fact that they had Weekend at Bernie's 2.
Oh my god!
Like the author was obviously angry that they had to include it, but he's he was obviously mad.
Bernie being a zombie,
but it was totally. He's like, it is a zombie movie, and I have to talk about it because it counts as a zombie movie, and he's right. It does. It's a reanimated corpse.
I can't wait to show Weekend at Bernie's to my daughters. It is like one of the top 10 funniest movies ever made. Like no reservations.
And I love the sequel too. Weekend at Bernie's.
The sequel's a terribly made movie. It's but it's insane. Great. It's so insane.
It's so insane.
That it even happened.
I've never not passed out from laughing from watching that movie. Every single time. I've seen it 100 times, and every time it gets funnier and funnier and funnier.
Andrew McCarthy
and here's the link, guys. Don't forget the link is Return of the Living Dead. The corner is the guy who killed Bernie.
Have you guys
Don Colfa?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Have you guys talked to Mike Lombardo about his pitch for Weekend at Bernie's 3?
No, we
sadly.
almost had Mike Lombardo tonight. And
next time you have Mike Lombardo as a captive audience, ask him about his. He used to run Terry Kaiser fan site, the Weekend at Bernie's fan site.
Oh my god!
Really?
He met him and told him like, "Hey, I run your fan site."
He loves that movie that much,
and he pitched him Weekend at Bernie's 3. And I shit you, I'm not even going to try to duplicate it. It is one of the funniest fucking stories anyone has ever told me.
Yeah,
it's his idea for Weekend at Bernie's 3. Just ask him next time you see him.
I wonder if a budget came around, would Terry Kaiser say yes? I guess he would. Why wouldn't he?
Is he still alive?
I'm surprised someone hasn't tried to do that, like remake it or bring him back for another one. I mean,
yeah,
that's a celebrity grave I would make a trip to visit. I want to visit Bernie's grave.
Like abso-freaking-lutely. Let me ask you this. Okay, so let me ask you this. Let's go back to not Frankenstein. Hold on, I'm trying to retrace our steps from that tangent. Frankenstein, Undead, Revenant. We were talking about. Oh, okay. First of all, here's another one I want to throw at you. Get your opinion as to what you think about it. It's not a very popular one. Very divisive. I do think that the social commentary in it is profound and interesting, despite its incredibly uncomfortable subject matter. And that film is Dead Girl. Have either one of you seen Dead Girl?
I love Dead Girl. I think it's a great film.
Seen it.
It's dark.
I think Chad and I watched it at the Florida Film Festival when I was down there at Full Sail, and
wow,
I had and the directors were, oh my god, okay, this is a funny story. So we're watching the movie and we're like, the whole time we're like, oh my god, this movie's insane. Like it kept insane
film.
You have to like step back and go,
look up a plot synopsis.
Holy shit. So they were there.
Yeah, go ahead.
The directors were there for a Q&A.
Yeah.
And this is not a spoiler for the movie, but people are asking questions. And in the movie, the basic plot of the movie is that there's a dead girl in this abandoned school or whatever.
Unexplained. Completely unexplained.
These two guys stumble upon it and they start using her. And
like sexually?
For whatever they want. It's a really twisted coming of age tale. And there's a dog in the school. It's
Cerberus.
It's like a Cerberus, basically a guardian, basically, but it just shows up kind of here and there in the movie.
It has 3 heads, or it's just a regular dog?
It's just a regular dog.
Symbolically, it's a Cerberus because they're entering this underworld of.
I had to ask. I mean, you said I had to ask.
So of course, when you go to like a regular film festival that's not a genre film fest like Nightmares or Genre Blast,
right?
If you go to like the Florida Film, you get randos that come to watch these movies.
Oh my god!
Normies.
Holy
and
shit.
They ask the dumbest questions. So this older guy, I don't know if he was like a newspaper critic or if he was just a regular fellow, but he gets up and asked. He goes, "Who was feeding the dog the whole time?" And one of the directors, I forget which one, because there's 2 directors, he goes, "I'm not even going to answer that question." And he turns to the next person and goes, "Next question."
And that's a legitimate question, though.
He's like, "I'm not going to dignify that with it."
It's a legitimate question.
It's a legitimate question, but it's also like, it doesn't matter.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah, like that's the only thing where that's like when you're nitpicking something.
He watches all of Dead Girl. He watches the whole movie.
That's a question your fucking parents would ask about a movie. It's just like.
That's like when I was a kid and I watched Richie Rich and I was like, wait a minute. So that McDonald's was open in his house 24/7. It doesn't matter. And like those things don't matter.
You know what's funny though about Dead Girl? You have to watch it with the subtitles on in order to actually understand how the movie ends. Because I watched the movie the first time and then I get to the ending and I'm going, what? How the fuck? Like what? Like, how does that go from that to that? That doesn't make any sense. And then some years back, I revisited it, and this was after I started watching everything with subtitles on. And I don't know if it's older age or if it's a symptom of having children or just a loud household or whatever, but I watch everything with subtitles, so I don't have to rewind shit. I always, because, and you know what I've noticed, and I don't think I'm losing my hearing. I truly think people like movies are not mixed very well for TV sometimes, and you can't. I miss things, and so
I turned it on for Dune. I had to. I was like, what is happening here? I can't hear anyone.
Game of Thrones. You have to turn on the subtitles. You're gonna be watching it. People
said
times.
Tenet was apparently mixed terribly.
I saw Tenet in the theater, and I couldn't understand half the dialogue. I was confused the entire time.
I'll tell you something. If you watch movies with subtitles. If you watch movies with subtitles, you will be amazed at the things, especially when you revisit a movie. Yeah. You go, holy shit, I didn't even know that. Or, wow, I guess that does get explained. So I'm watching Dead Girl with the subtitles on, and suddenly the entire end of the movie makes sense through the barely audible dialogue that I had totally missed when I had previously watched it. And I just goes to show you, watch movies with the subtitles on if you can.
2 times in my life where subtitles actually changed like 30 years of thinking something was different. One is the end of Neverending Story when he screams his mother's name. I always assumed he said like Dream Child or something, but he actually says Moon Child. I didn't know that.
Wow.
Until DVD came around and I turned the subtitles on. I was like, oh, okay. And the second was Pee-wee's Big Adventure where he's talking to the puppet and he says, "How's school, Billy?" And he goes, "Blows." I always used to think he said blows.
Yeah.
He says closed. I wouldn't have known this if it weren't for subtitles because I never watched these movies,
That's exactly, dude, that is why you always should watch movies with subtitles if you can.
That line in Batman, I never knew what he was saying. The Joker, that line, he's like,
rhubarb?
After he breaks the TV, he goes, "I'm of a mind to make some nookie," I think is what he says. And I could never understand what the fuck he was saying because he wants to go fuck Vicky Vale.
Right.
I could never understand what that line was because it sounded like gibberish. And I had the Prince soundtrack too. And that line is on the soundtrack. And I was just like, what the fuck is he saying? And I had to turn the subtitles on to figure out what he was saying.
Telling you. It just
That's
makes
this town needs an
easier.
enema scene, right?
Yes.
But yeah, so Dead Girl is another like avenue where you're literally juxtaposing a bunch of things. Now suddenly we have necrophilia, you have the undead thing, you have, I mean, it's a crazy setup from a guy who graduated from Trauma College, essentially, Trent Haga, who I love, by the way. I think he's a phenomenal screenwriter. He's written a bunch of lot of crazy stuff. He wrote Cheap Thrills. He wrote a movie called Cut, I think, that he also directed. Movie called 68 Kill.
68 Kill was really
68 Kill. He's done a bunch of stuff, but his breakout film outside of the trauma scape was Dead Girl, and it just sort of marries all these different things together that you never would expect, and ends up with a social commentary and a message that is in complete opposite of what people take away from watching that film. They see the gratuitousness of it, and maybe it's a little overly gratuitous, but like they totally missed the message. And there's a sequel to Dead Girl called Dead Girl 2 that Trent released. And the sequel idea is even more fascinating, I think, than the original, his original idea. He kind of inverts it, where it's a girl who now has weaponized the dead girl to her own sort of whims and needs. It's very interesting.
So I've never seen this movie, but I just looked it up, and the cover is instantly recognizable because it was a rental when I was managing a video store. To show you how old I am. And I remember people complaining about it upon return.
It's dark, dude. I mean, it's worth a watch. It's worth a watch, but just be ready.
Oh, I'm not saying I'll be like that. I'm just saying I remember the big complaint ones, and I remember that was.
Dead Girl. That sounds nice.
That sounds fun. Because people look for a horror movie, and then it's not a fun one,
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking of subtitles and movie stores, I actually used to work at a movie store too, and this guy would always come in. Yeah, I worked at Movie Stop, which was just the movie version of GameStop until they went out of business. The guy, oh my God, the trades that we would get, fucking is a nightmare. I still have PTSD about the trades. People would bring in 1,000 movies.
I'm a veteran of Sam Goody and Borders Books and FYE, so I
trash
the good old days, right?
Yep.
But there was this guy who came in and bought movies, and he would return them and trade them in, but he would watch them on his PlayStation, and he would watch them at 1.5 speed, so he could get through them faster and just watch more movies. And I'm like,
why watch movies at all? That's
he didn't care. Like I tried to tell him, I was like, you're missing like the flow of the movie. Like it's
Netflix has
certain runtime for whether you like it or not. Like
you can watch Netflix movies like that.
He didn't get it. He's like, I want to watch more movies. Like it's quicker this way. And I'm like, dude, what?
That's a weird mindset that I would never understand. What are you watching it to like win? Are you trying to win movies?
Just consume things.
I do that with podcasts because you have your podcasts stack up and you need. There's just only a finite amount of time. But movies,
podcasts are not like a podcast like this is not like a constructed edit.
Right, you're downloading information. We're literally downloading information.
It's as great as we are, this is not art. What we're doing right now,
we're just talking.
No, the art of a podcast is the fact that you do it at all. That's it.
Yeah.
Doing it, keeping up with it. That's the art.
Yeah, if you're trying to watch this Kubrick film at 1.5 speed, like you might as well just have your ass kicked. Like
someone should be lobotomized,
break into your house and beat the shit out of you.
Just be completely lobotomized, thrown in movie jail.
I mean, if we knew how people watch movies in their home, you'd be appalled. It's atrocious.
On their phones and just playing video games and like.
How many times have you guys on your feed seen someone say, I'm halfway through blank and it sucks?
Fucking hate that.
And I'm like, you're texting, you're posting during the movie. Your opinion is nothing now.
There are people that post photos from movie theaters. They're like, I'm in Dune right now or whatever. This is good. And I'm like, great. Shut the fuck up and watch the movie.
Right.
This is why I only tend to go to Alamo Draft Houses because they have such
strict. Yeah.
I've never walked out of a movie and I've never not finished a movie on purpose.
I don't believe you should review a movie you haven't seen all of.
Absolutely.
And number two, it's the negative ones that annoy me when it's obvious you're using your phone during a movie. I'm like, if you like it, I'm like less angry about it. But I'm like, you can't hate something that you're not watching all over paying attention to.
Nope.
It's not.
I want to have the right to talk about this shitty movie I just watched for 90 minutes. I'm going to finish that fucker, and then I'm going to talk about it. Like,
right.
I'm not going to just stop it halfway through. That's a waste of my time. I've already committed to this movie.
You have a right to walk out of a movie, but don't. It's like if you didn't vote, don't complain about politics.
Don't say you saw it. You didn't see it. You watched half of it. You know.
Because how many movies have we seen where it's like, I don't know, for the first 30 minutes, and then it's like, oh wait, and then it's like, okay, I'm down, I'm sold.
Dude,
you know what I mean?
Dude, I watched The Covenant, one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Is that what the guys were?
Like the male
warlock
craft,
the warlocks,
Yeah. It's like literally, it's in my top 10 worst movies I've ever seen.
Wait, that's the trailer moment where the car deconstructs.
Yes. It was. I was physically like ill, angry after I finished that movie, but I finished it.
I can't believe you brought that movie up.
So, there was a period there, like 2006 and 2007, where most of my worst ever films are in those years, like Ultraviolet. And
oh my
like,
God, Ultraviolet!
You know what you're gonna have to do? You have to do an answer podcast to 96. 96 is your year of power,
and then do 2006.
2006 is your year of
that year
power.
Was like Date Movie and Dragon Wars. Like they all came out in the same kind of time. That was a bad time for movies.
Date Movie is one of the most angering experiences I've ever had. Because
shit.
I was such a fan of spoofs in the 90s. And then to see those guys,
those were the rage in the aughts.
Like Epic Movie and Date Movie. Oh my God.
Yeah, when they came around, I was just
started with Scary
angry.
Movie. Scary Movie is what brought it upon.
Yeah, but even Scary Movie didn't go to those depths that those guys
Scary
did.
Movie 2 is actually really, really funny.
I like Scary Movie 2.
Scary movies are funny compared to those other fucking terrible.
The Seltzer Freeberg movies are like the parodies. They're trying to parody what the Wayans brothers did.
Scary Movie 2 is
that like the 300 one and the superhero
Meet the Spartans,
one?
Date Movie, Epic movie,
wow, you know
disaster movie.
Oh my God.
I was podcasting while some of this was happening, and it was like a big topic. So disaster movie is the worst made movie I've ever seen in a major studio theater.
You're an OG podcaster.
I stopped after Superhero Movie. I couldn't finish it after Superhero Movie. I was like, I'm done. I'm not doing this again. I can't.
Superhero Movie's not as bad to me because it was Craig Mazin and there's a story at least in it.
Yeah.
And then you have like movie 47 or something.
I think it's
46.
never watched. No, movie 43. It's got some good segments and it's not very good.
Isn't that the one where Hugh Jackman's got like a dick nose or something?
Yeah, he's got balls growing out of his.
Yeah, he's got balls.
Look, I laughed. I'm not gonna lie. There's moments in
balls
that
on your. I mean, balls on your chin is funny. Like, you can't be denied.
The sad part is movie 43 is nowhere near as funny as something like The 10. You know, I don't know if you guys have seen The 10.
Love The 10. Love David Wayne. Have we never talked about how much we love David? I love David Wayne. Do you like Stella?
Oh my God, yeah.
Dude, Stella is like my shit, dude.
I love Stella. Yeah.
I had a dream of like writing my own Stella shorts, like in that same exact vein. We even shot one. We shot a pilot. It was 15 minutes long, and it was basically just Stella surreal humor, like Three Stooges meets Stella. I love that. I love that comedy so much. It's my favorite. Absolutely, all those shorts. You can watch them all on YouTube. The Stella shorts
and the Comedy Central show was great.
That one season, a crime against humanity that it was not renewed for season 2. Just that had me loyal to David Wayne along with Wet Hot American Summer. I was just like, I will watch anything this man makes because I just love his style of humor, along with Michael Showalter and Michael Ian Black. They're great. But let me ask you this: what do you think? So Frankenstein is more of a Revenant, right?
Mm-hmm.
What about Ed's dead mother? What is Ed's dead mother?
I mean, the same thing, right? I know, Nathan, you haven't seen it, but she's basically reanimated by a corporation that does it for money.
Right.
Like they find people with a recently deceased loved one, and then they reanimate them. And then there's like rules, like you have to feed her life.
Yes.
So she's supposed to be fed like
roaches,
but she ends up eating a dog.
And it starts a chain reaction. And by the way, like, give me that HBO show. Give me that. No, straight up. Give me 10 episodes of that. Give me a fucking miniseries.
It can work. Basically, like Santa Clarita Diet is basically kind of like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
which I really
enjoyed
enjoyed the shit out of that. I didn't care about all the mythology. Like, I don't need all that. But like Nathan Fillion as the dead head was so fun, like so great. It just a shame.
I also, for some reason, find Timothy Olyphant funny, even though he's like obviously the most arrogant hot guy ever. But
is he? I think he's really fun. I think he's really funny. Really good. Yeah,
he's really so great in The Girl Next Door, which is an underrated film, by the way.
And they have good chemistry.
The juice needs to be worth the squeeze, right?
The juice needs to be worth the squeeze. Elijah Dushku, Alicia Dushku, something like that.
I do.
That was Emil Hirsch. Emil Hirsch is in that film.
Alicia Cuthbert. Yeah.
Her career sort of died out. She did not continue onward.
She was in 24, and she's in a couple
think that
movies.
movie might not hold up for some people now, but
probably not.
It's probably a little bit not okay. But I did enjoy it back in the day.
Timothy Olyphant is very good in that movie.
He is. He's really good in that movie.
And his chemistry with Drew Barrymore in Santa Clarita Diet made that show just absolutely phenomenal. Like they played off each other so well. And then when it was canceled with no reprieve, I was really mad. Really angry.
And it was kind of the one like horror show that Netflix greenlit, right? Like they don't.
Yes,
they haven't done much horror. They did a few horror movies. I think.
Well, they did You I would consider to be horror.
They did those really good movies recently, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I have not watched yet.
I haven't watched them either.
Okay, here is another Frankenstein-esque sort of undead film that came out recently that I thought was, I mean, nobody talks about this film. This dude is a friggin' genius. I have to find out he made another film too. It's called Patchwork. Have you heard of Patchwork? Looking this up.
You're going deep, Jeff.
Yeah, I have not heard of Patchwork.
I'm going to set this up for you. I'm not going to spoil it, but I'm going to set this up. 3 women are kidnapped and wake up basically as one person. Their body parts are all consolidated into one body. They're sewn together into a singular human being, and they communicate with each other in their mind. They're projected as their normal selves in an apartment. That's supposed to be a metaphor for their head.
What do they physically look like? Is their head just one normal head size?
No, they look like a Frankenstein, like a regular Frankenstein. So they look like a Frankenstein woman. Like
there's a third of each brain in there?
There's a third of each person in one person.
I know, but I'm more asking how the brain
like
works.
Who's outer? Is it like one girl's body and then everybody else?
I guess they all share. I'm trying to find the movie right now. They all share
I'm just thinking of
mind.
Like a head that is like super wide because it has
no. It's like a third of each brain. But it's so crazy because the girls have to work together to figure out how to work their new body and find out the fuckers that basically slaughtered them and then reconfigured them into a single person.
It almost has like a human centipede vibe, doesn't it?
It's kind of got like a comedy. It's kind of a comedy, and it's also horrifying to me. Like the idea of this happening, like it absolutely terrifying. It came out in 2015, and it's considered to be a horror comedy. I highly, highly recommend it.
Okay.
It's directed by a guy named Tyler McIntyre, and I would say that it fits within the realm.
Did we just lose Jeff?
Oh.
Ain't that a bitch? Hello?
Oh.
Can you see me?
Hello?
What happened?
I was in the void for a minute. I got scared.
Me and Nathan were alone, and then Nathan popped away, and then I was alone there.
Where did I lose you guys?
You were describing Patchwork. You're just basically saying that you're recommending it, highly recommending it, and then you popped away.
Okay, you know what he directed? You know what else he directed? Tragedy Girls. Same guy.
Oh, I love Tragedy Girls.
Yeah,
that's a good movie.
Yeah, so I thought Tragedy Girls was, in my opinion, Tragedy Girls is one of the best slashers of the last 20 years. I think it's that good.
There's like 3 different movies going on in that movie, and I love it. I like it when they.
I always like a kitchen sink movie where there's way too much happening.
Well, it definitely fits in the realm of slasher, and it's great. And his film before that is called Patchwork, and it is really gruesome. It's 3 people that are stitched together, into one person. And here's the synopsis. Ready? 3 young women go out partying and wake up attached together as a Frankenstein monster with their individual personalities still intact. The 3 women set out to figure out what happened to them. And it was on Shudder, I think, for a while, maybe. And it just, I wonder where it's streaming now. It's a must-watch film.
This is I haven't seen that, Jeff, but I wanted to tell you this is reminding me of another movie that I think you guys should watch, which is quite the insane thing to exist. Have you ever heard of Mr. Stitch?
No. Is that the clown?
No, it is not Stitches. It is Mr. Stitch. Yeah. It is a movie written and directed by Roger Avery. I'm sure you know who Roger Avery is of fiction fame. It stars Rutger Hauer, Will Wheaton.
Oh my God.
And it's about, I just want to read you the small synopsis here.
Go ahead.
Dr. Rue Wakeman, which is Rutger Hauer, and his team create a young man with skin and organs taken from other men and women. The creature, Lazarus, played by Will Wheaton, reads a lot of books and learns all about humans. But when he meets fascinating Dr. Elizabeth English, played by Nia Peoples, his life changes and he decides to escape from the laboratory.
Oh my God.
It is a 1995 TV movie. It also has Ron Perlman in it, Ron Jeremy.
Tyler Negron from...
right.
Tyler Negron. From Biodome?
Yeah. But yeah, Ron Jeremy and Ron Perlman. You get
that looks crazy.
It's crazy.
I got a whole list of movies to watch now. This is great.
Yeah.
I am watching this as soon as I can find it. It doesn't seem to be streaming anywhere.
So after you watch it, Jeff, we actually did this on my other podcast, on my podcast bonus disc, because I had never seen it. So that was quite a fun episode. I did not expect how crazy this movie is.
Dude, this sucks. A TV movie. Not streaming. It's not streaming.
It's hard to find. My friend Sean Jones, you might know him,
see if it's on Amazon.
Camp Killer.
Yeah.
He had a copy of it on DVD. So
wow.
Yeah, it's super weird. And I had no clue it existed. And just the fact that it's Roger Avery and Rutger Hauer, I was like, okay.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that. Okay, the DVD,
a Frankenstein monster.
DVD is $47.99 on Amazon.
That's how rare it is. Yeah.
Wow. It's out of print. I consider that when a single disc costs that much for a shitty DVD
TV movie.
Who, by the way, this looks like, when you have that weird logo at the top of the movie that quite clearly
Did you look up a picture of Will Wheaton from the movie? He looks nuts.
No, I haven't seen. I just see a guy in bandages. But when you see that logo, this is a disc probably from 1998 at like the dawn of. Oh my God! Look at this chapter menu.
Is it by Good Times DVD?
It just says DVD.
If I send you a picture, could you put it on screen?
Go ahead. Well, I have it. I have it right. Oh, you mean a picture of Will Wheaton?
I just wanted you to see a picture of what Will Wheaton looks like in this.
I'm gonna put it on the screen for you right now. Hold on.
I want Nathan to see it too. He just looks so nuts.
Let me it's coming right now. Oh my God. Holy shit.
I know, right?
This is banana. I have to see this film.
It's nuts, man.
I have to see this film. This is where what's his face?
Did you put it on
the
screen?
idea for? Hold on, it's coming right now. Coming right now. Boom.
Yeah,
holy shit.
Look at that the one with him and Rutger Hauer. That picture with his like nipples and stuff.
Oh my God.
The second one over.
Hold on, I'm gonna click on some of these. Look at that, dude.
Look at that, right?
He is patchwork. He's really a man of the world. He's made from everybody.
Yeah.
What is happening?
I think the movie tries to have a commentary where he's like a man made of all types of people. Or something like that. I don't think it delivers on that, but it tries to.
So should we start a GoFundMe so we can get a copy of this?
Okay, so the non-US format is $13.37, so you can get it on DVD.
Is it region free?
I don't know, probably not.
By region 2.
Also, I really want to stress, I'm not saying this is a good movie that I'm recommending.
Oh, never mind. It's dubbed in Spanish.
It's just crazy that it exists.
This version is dubbed in Spanish. I'm not spending $13.37 on a movie that's been dubbed in Spanish when I don't even speak Spanish. It's not going to work.
I'll ask my friend where it can be obtained, or if he has a copy.
We'll see. We'll go about.
Before I forget, Patchwork reminded me. It's not a zombie film, but it's really good and it's really low budget. It's called Conjoined, and it's directed by Joe Grisafi. I don't know if you guys know Joe. He's a really cool dude.
Okay.
This guy falls in love with this girl, and he finally goes to her house to meet her, and she's a conjoined twin, and her twin is this psychopathic serial killer. And it's really, really funny and really dark, but it's very low budget. But it's just got that.
How did they do the twins? How did they do the conjoined twins?
Oh, it's all low budget effect stuff.
The tagline is incredible. Fate brought them together. Flesh kept them together. Love will tear them apart.
What's it called? What's it called again?
Conjoined.
Yeah, that looks great.
I have a very important reason to see this film now.
I got a copy at Crimson Screen when I went there. They were selling copies there one year.
They're just wearing a dress.
Yeah, they just cover it up.
Dude, that's so much easier. Like in my mind, I was like, oh, if you want to do a movie with conjoined twins, they have to at least be the same height. They're gonna have to wear like a shirt that, shows them, and then, like, I don't know. I'm looking at this. This would be so much easier to do.
The Addams Family did it with just a piece of clothing. Why can't
the shirt?
They just had a dress, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh my God. All right, I'm definitely going to check this out as well.
It's a lot of fun. It's very, very droll.
You know who I want to see do zombies too as well? Do you guys watch American Horror Story at all?
Zack Snyder? You want Zack Snyder to do zombies?
No.
Hey, me and Jeff covered that on this show.
We did. We talked about Army of the Dead for an hour, and
I actually think the prequel looks awesome.
Oh, Army of Thieves.
But Zack Snyder's not directing it, so I kind of have more hope for it a little bit.
There's going to be people legit disappointed there's no zombies in that movie.
There's going to be a lot of people that stop halfway through the movie and text on Twitter and go, I'm in the middle of watching this movie and there's no zombies. There's no zombies.
It's a weird choice to make a prequel to a zombie movie before this.
I legitimately want American Horror Story to do a zombie themed season.
They probably stayed away from that though because of The Walking Dead. I mean, it's just well-worn territory.
We didn't even talk about The Walking Dead, which is basically just a giant ripoff of the George Romero universe, except George Romero never saw a friggin' cent, even though his boys all got paid, but he never saw a red cent from that show.
I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily true. I mean, you can owe that homage to him, but I mean, whether you like Robert Kirkman or not, I mean, that is his own creation, like the comic book.
I did read the comic book.
I read the comic book as well.
But I'll say this, if I was going to be cynical about The Walking Dead, I watched for 5 years and then quit.
I stopped. I don't know if anybody's listening. I stopped after they killed Beth. I was like, I'm done. Like that was such a mean death, and there was no need for it. I was done after that. I stopped watching.
I was gonna say, like, going to horror conventions when I still did, it became very apparent to me that like The Walking Dead was kind of the Walmart of horror.
It's the Walmart of horror. It's absolutely the Walmart of horror. And 150%.
I don't want to say people can't enjoy things. It was just like when I was at those conventions, I realized there's a lot of people that weren't normally there that were like only there for the Walking Dead stuff, and they had no clue about anything else. And I was like,
"You want to come watch Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer?"
I don't want to be a gatekeeper, I don't want to be a gatekeeper, but it's obvious what that show was.
No, I get what you mean.
Yeah. Listen, I read The Walking Dead from 2004 to 2019. Like every 6 months, I read the entire series front to back. I'm a loyal fan of that comic book. And I do love Robert Kirkman and what he did. And I'm reading Invincible now. I got to issue 47 of Invincible, which I'm really enjoying.
It's great.
But I mean, like whether it's homage or not, like it is literally, to me, he admits it. He wears his influence on his sleeve plain as day. He says, I wanted to make a series that basically is a Romero movie that never ends, and it just upsets me that I wish that Romero could have tasted that, because that dude was so frustrated at the end of his career. He's making these straight to video DVD, zombie movies.
We really didn't talk about the second trilogy at all yet.
It's my god, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen Survival of the Dead since it came out.
I like Land, sort of.
Land's okay.
Land's okay.
I like Diary. There's a lot of people that hate that movie, but I think as a found footage movie, it's actually really good.
Haven't seen it since it came out. Don't even remember it, really.
Survival can fuck off for all I care.
I mean, Survival is hilarious because it's literally ends. You know what I remember from Survival? One, that they all eat a horse, which I'm like, hey, wait a minute, that's from The Walking Dead. And then I'm like, hey, wait a minute, The Walking Dead's from George Romero. So I'm like, what?
That movie was just George Romero trying to play catch up, and it's just like
trying to play catch up.
George, everybody's done this already.
And you know what's so sad? The sad truth about George Romero, this is the tragedy of George Romero, is that dude made some of the most interesting non-zombie movies.
Absolutely.
Night Riders.
Yep.
Night Riders, Martin, Creepshow, Season of the Witch.
Even Bruiser is a good movie. I mean,
dude, I love Bruiser, and fucking Monkey Shines is bananas.
Monkey Shines is insane.
Have you guys have both seen Monkey Shines?
Absolutely, dude.
Monkey Shines is bananas.
Fucking rips off the monkey's head.
I think other than the original Dawn, zombie trilogy, I think his non-zombie movies are more interesting. Like, I wish he had done more of that stuff than go back to.
Well, I think he couldn't get funding.
He went back to the zombie movie because that was probably what was successful, and he was trying to get that success back.
And he barely got money for them. Like he barely.
It's such a shame, dude. Such a shame.
Do you guys ever think like the turning point? Like if there's another dimension where he directed Resident Evil, and it actually,
oh my god,
you know what I mean? Like, remember when that was going to happen?
Probably, in like '99, it probably would have exploded. But here's the thing: he couldn't play the game. That was Romero's problem. He could not play the game. There's a famous thing, he was going to do the Mummy at one point, and which is another version of Undead that we didn't talk about. You have Mummies. Mummies are absolutely zombies. They are
almost sort of revenants too, right?
They're revenants. They're magical. They're like these magical creatures. They're super strong. And, you have all different varieties of mummies too. But he was going to do the Mummy, and he walked into a meeting in LA or something. This was like 1998. It was like classic sheepdog era George Romero, where he looked kind of like a sheepdog with his hair, the way his hair was. He had the big rimmed glasses. Love that era of George Romero. And he was just like, fuck this. I'm going to get out of here. I don't give a shit. I'm just not going to do it.
To be fair, if you take both of those movies, and I'm a really big fan of The Mummy, but it's not a horror movie in any sense of the word.
Which horror? I mean, which mummy?
The Mummy and The Mummy Returns, I think, are very fun, but they're not horror films.
They're not horror films.
Yeah, right.
They're horror adjacent.
I'm actually a fan of Resident Evil, even though I'm not going to defend it, nor do I think it's a horror movie.
The first one, I can watch the first one, absolutely.
But
I can watch the first one and like the fourth one.
They're monster movies. The Mummy and The Mummy Returns are monster movies. And the thing is, even though they are action adventure, and I just rewatched both of them, and not only do they hold up, except for the CGI, they're super fucking fun.
I kind of like the bad CGI, to be honest.
It's like really bad.
Hey,
Scorpion King CGI is the only thing that ruins it for me for those.
The Scorpion CGI is like it's so.
You see there's guys on the internet that fixed it. They made it better.
Yes,
Corridor Digital.
On that YouTube channel, they're brilliant guys.
Are those the same guys that did the better de-aging for The Irishman too?
The Irishman is an embarrassment, dude. That is absolutely an embarrassment. That shit didn't
work. I like the movie, but I like the movie too. It didn't work for me at all.
Not in the least. It was. I was like, really? That's what you needed? $100,000.
They should have casted younger. Should have got like Miles Teller or something. You know what I mean?
Did you guys see? It's amazing.
Obsessed with the gimmicks, man.
I know we're not talking about zombies right now, but did you see Spike Lee's what was it? The war movie he made for Netflix. It was great. I love that movie. No. Yeah, Five Bloods. They instead of doing because they didn't give him the Martin Scorsese money, so the younger versions of the guys are just played by the older actors because it's a flashback. and it's just in the mind of them, so it doesn't matter that they're not young.
That's
and
pretty
it works
clever.
so much. It's like them and Chadwick Boseman. Chadwick Boseman is their old war buddy who's young.
What an interesting storytelling device.
Dude, it's great. It works so much better than, because like The Irishman, you're distracted the whole time. You watch Spike Lee's movie and it's just beautiful.
Walter White's checking in from New Zealand. How are you, Walter White?
What I was going to say, Jeff, real quick, was about if Romero did direct those two movies back in that era, I don't know if they would be as successful as they were.
Which ones?
Resident Evil and the Mummy, because back then I think the action sold. And I don't see Romero doing.
It wouldn't have been action.
Could Romero make the Mummy like that? No, he couldn't. And that's.
But
okay.
it would have been. It still would have been interesting. You know what it would have been about? Yeah. It would have been about some greedy corporation wanting to exploit a mummy. That's what it would have been about, and it would have been cool. But it just wouldn't. I'll tell you something else.
But look how. But it wouldn't have been the light as a feather fun of those movies. You know.
No, it wouldn't have been. I probably would prefer if I got to jump dimensions and watch both of those movies. I would probably pick what's his name? Stephen Sommers' movie.
I'm a fan of Stephen Sommers.
Have you seen?
In defense of Paul W.S. Anderson, because he gets shit on a lot.
I love him, Nathan.
I like Death Race. I like Event Horizon.
Death Race is so good.
The first Death Race
Horizon
is so good, man.
Love Event Horizon.
Event Horizon is awesome. I love
Mortal Kombat.
Soldier is awesome to me. I love
Soldier. Soldier is really good.
Oh, yeah,
Soldier's the true Blade Runner 2.
Yes,
Soldier is Blade Runner 2.
I'm so glad you know that.
When Blade Runner 2049 came, I kept calling it Blade Runner 3. Like, they made 2 already.
Soldier, Blade Runner, and Alien are all
Twitter.
in the same universe. All three of those movies are in the same universe.
Wait, what besides Soldier and Blade Runner? What else?
Alien. They're all in the same universe.
I've always said this. Like at this point, I look at his career and I'm like, you can say he made a bunch of shitty movies, or you can say this guy has been doing what he loves the entire time.
Sure.
And also, I mean, he ended up making movies starring his wife for like a decade, right? Like he's married to
that's the dream, right?
Right. I mean, like at this point, he's an auteur to me, and he loves gory action, silly sci-fi stuff. The dude made Mortal Kombat. He made, Alien vs Predator. Are they great? They're fun.
Actually, Alien vs Predator is super fun. I rewatched it.
Yeah.
Very recently, and
it's like the
fun.
people that are like, "Oh, he sucks." That I've seen every one of his movies, though. You know what I mean? Like it's.
I used to say
at some point you would have to go, I'm not watching any more of his movies. I've seen every single one of his films.
Same. He's kind of the career I kind of wish I had. Like I would totally be happy being Paul W.S. Anderson.
Is Pompeii a good movie? No, but I watched it. I would look forward to watching it.
Dude made Event Horizon. It's like, come on.
Event Horizon is fantastic.
I always say like there's P.T. Anderson, and then there's Paul W.S. Anderson. I always said the W.S. stands for way shittier.
But I always get the two confused. I always get the two confused. It always like to sort of like,
as a social experiment, we should like pay both of them to make one of each other's scripts that they're like they switch
like Strangers on a Train.
Yeah,
it's
like
Strangers on a Train, but with movie making. I'll make your movie, and
you'll
make my movie.
P.T. Anderson making like Resident Evil.
Oh my god!
I'll drink your milkshake. I'll put my straw.
Paul W.S. Anderson directing Boogie
like Phantom Thread by Paul W.S. Anderson.
Oh my god.
Oh
okay,
my
that
God.
is also a really fun game, not to be played tonight, but in the future. Directors, having one director direct somebody else's movie and what that would be like, because that is a endless fun game where you could just sort of go on and on and
I
on.
love that game because it always shows to me how comedy usually comes out on top as far as difficulty. Like the whole Martin Scorsese can't make Step Brothers, but Adam McKay could probably make a Martin Scorsese movie. You know what I mean? like if you took those two versions, one is going to be way better, and it's probably the Adam McKay one. Not saying it would be as good as Scorsese.
Wait a minute, hold on. Martin Scorsese's Step Brothers. What the fuck?
That would not be good, right?
No, it would be absolutely. Oh my god!
It might be good, but it wouldn't be funny. That's for sure.
Right, it would
it wouldn't be funny at all.
It would start with a voiceover. It would start with a voiceover from Will Ferrell's character about living with his dad, and then it would cut to a same voiceover.
Ray Liotta is the father, and
Yes, of course.
Oh
No,
my
no, no.
God.
Reverse that. Reverse that. Will Ferrell lives with his dad, and John C. Reilly lives with his dad, and Will Ferrell lives with his mom.
Yeah.
And it's the voiceovers of the two either the two parents do the voiceovers or Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly. There's a voiceover. And then they meet for the first time.
It's an unknown narrator. It's like Adam Scott or something.
Yeah.
Like,
let's say this: Step Brothers is barely a movie. It's an improv act that is edited together, which is why it's funny.
A sketch movie.
Yeah.
It's only funny if you let go of the fact that it's not.
They're like, okay, Will, what are you gonna say? I'm gonna punch you in the face because it's gonna really hurt you.
Right. It's just Adam McKay going, say this now. Say this.
Yeah.
Scorsese can't do that.
No, he can't.
He can't do that.
Why?
You're right.
I don't want him to do that. It's fine.
Why are you so sweaty? I was watching Cops.
Right.
But isn't it funny how that movie is just as quotable as Goodfellas? Like endlessly
you know what's super quotable?
Brothers. What?
I will go to bat for The Other Guys any day of the week.
The Other Guys is great.
Hysterical.
Which shot scenes right down the road from here on Central Avenue in front of Pastina's.
Did you just scream America? I gotta love it. Yeah.
Yo, I'll tell you something else. Okay, here's another example. Okay, here's another example. Someone I don't know when this film came out. Well, let's say like someone in the year 2003 is like, hey, what if Michael Bay tried to make a comedy? Like that would be so stupid.
Called Pain and Gain.
And then he fucking did. And then he fucking did.
Rules,
and it's one of his best fucking movies.
Easily. I saw that.
So good.
I'm not kidding both of you. I saw it 5 times in theaters. 5
That's
times.
So fucking good. I love Michael Bay. Michael Bay is a good
I love Michael Bay. I love Michael Bay outside of basically Transformers. If you remove Transformers,
agreed.
I'm a huge
full
fan.
Stop. And I've only seen the first one. Because I'll tell you something. When you watch those Transformers transform, you literally cannot my brain. I'm going like, what? Like what's happening? Right? Like I can't actually visually process what's happening. Because not only
we got a stop motion animation Transformers live action movie from the 80s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's how they would have to do it back then. Is like
it's
like stop motion, like Ray
Tim Burton's Transformers, directed by Henry Selick. It's literally just saying that. That's the punchline.
Yeah,
like what
Johnny
I just
Depp
said.
Is the
like, you
voice
get
of
the
Megatron.
joke.
Oh,
it's like a verbal,
awful cast.
It's a verbal meme.
It's
a verbal fucking meme. Like I just said it, and you juxtaposed those two ideas together.
Because any cinephile knows that the joke of Henry Selick not getting any credit for his entire career.
Right. Right.
His greatest achievement has been totally overshadowed by Tim Burton.
Tim Burton's Transformers. Oh my God.
What is that? The making of or something? There's some video on Nightmare on Elm Street, and it's just like
they got a lot of fights.
Henry Selick was like, he wasn't even on set for more than like a day. He's like, it's my movie. It's like he was never there.
You want to know something? Okay, it is. I mean, yes, he totally is what happened. But to be fair, he did write the story. He was involved with the script. He did write the story. It's his visual look.
Yeah, you can't deny that the design.
That's not.
I mean, Henry Selick brought the film to life. Without Henry Selick, there's no film.
Look,
and
I'm a Monkey Bone fan. I can't help it. Okay, I enjoy Monkey Bone.
I don't remember that movie at all.
I just remember Chris Kattan being dead. That's literally all I remember.
Movies I just don't remember.
Hey, there's a full circle for you because the last act of Monkey Bone, Chris Kattan is a reanimated corpse with the soul of Brendan Fraser.
Okay, we're gonna end on that note. Monkey Bone is a zombie movie. See what happens, Chris, when you go away? Look what we've done to the show. Look what we've done to the show, Chris. It's turned into this Monkey Bone.
That's what happens when you got guys who really love movies. You just end up talking about everything.
I honestly fucking love this. Like,
when
are we going to turn this into something?
I'm willing to do this all the time. I don't care.
We have to turn this into something, and I want to just keep playing this game over and over again. Where you think of one movie, can we end with two? All right, everybody, come up with one. Come up with one.
With one what specifically?
One of those things. Those things, because it's so fucking funny.
Oh, you mean if a director directed
like
this
Tim
thing?
Burton's Transformers? Come up with one. Come up with anything.
Are we looking for stuff that would be a disaster or stuff that would be good, like interesting?
It could be, but that's what's so great about the game. It's polarizing. It's either going to be a disaster or it's going to be the best fucking thing ever. Right?
Like Steven Spielberg's The 120 Days of Sallow or whatever.
Yes. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, ready? I got one. John Waters' Forrest Gump.
That would probably be an improvement. Nothing wrong with Forrest
John
Gump.
Waters' Forrest Gump.
It would just add a bunch of like fecal matter and piss and vomit into the movie.
Like he's just eating shit out of the chocolate box.
Obviously, it would star Divine. It would be Divine. Divine would star in Forrest Gump, dude.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
I mean, okay, I'm gonna make a serious thing, and I'm gonna say something that almost happened that I wish did.
Okay.
It's a thing that didn't happen, which was Joe Dante's Jaws 3.
Oh yeah, Jaws 3, wow. People Zero.
Yeah, Jaws 3, People Zero. Like, I mean, Jaws 3. I don't know if I'm a fan. I've seen it like way too many times. It's not good.
I love Jaws 3. Love it.
Jaws 3.
Every bone of that.
It's Jaws 3, man.
That's about it, though. I mean, that shot, shot with the shark coming through the window.
Dude,
I mean,
classic. Best shot ever.
and the dolphins at the end, the compositing on the dolphins at the end when they jump up and they're 3D, it looks so I saw like an actual screen, 35 millimeter screening of that like 5 years ago, and I just was like incredible at that. Used to be acceptable.
Starring Dennis Quaid. Dennis Quaid is in that film.
Like Unreal. The non-shark stuff of that movie is so ungodly, inert, and boring. It's insane.
And the idea is actually a great idea. It's just, it's like not a bad idea.
I kind of feel like Deep Blue Sea was like the remake of Jaws 3 and outside the franchise.
Which, by the way, Thomas Jane would absolutely be the guy in the red jumpsuit that gets eaten. That's Thomas Jane, like before Thomas Jane. So totally works.
So Deep Blue Sea is Rennie Harlan's Jaws 3.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as much as I love Die Hard, if you read the original book, the book is so fucking good and it's so dark. I would love to see either a remake with like Ben Wheatley directing it, or like I would like to have seen like Sam Peckinpah like direct the original version of Die Hard.
Okay.
Because it is like, have you seen? Do you know what happens in the book?
No,
I haven't read it. No,
tell us. Is this a book or a novelization?
No, it's what the movie is based on. Like it's originally a book.
Remember also too, like I think the other book was adapted to a movie that was stars Frank Sinatra, and then
absolutely, yeah,
Frank Sinatra was almost going to star in Die Hard,
and
which is the most crazy thought.
He said no because he read the script,
right?
And but the original book, like it's him. He's like a hard-boiled cop, but it's his daughter that he's going to visit. It's not his wife, his ex-wife. And at the end of the movie, he kills all the bad guys, but then his daughter dies. Like she falls off the building accidentally. It's just like super dark, super fucked up.
Holy crap.
Yeah, it's really nihilistic.
Wow.
And I just want to see that made into a movie. It's the same thing with The Running Man. If you read the actual Running Man, the book is so much better than the movie.
I love The Running Man.
Okay, and the ending is kind of insane considering what would happen.
There's nothing wrong with the movie. I enjoy the movie. Don't get me wrong.
Love the movie.
Yeah,
the book is fucking nuts. If you've ever read that,
the ending is just insane. Like the ending is literally insane.
How about Lars von Trier's The Running Man?
Okay, that's good. That's really good.
Good Lord.
I dig that.
But like Paul Verhoeven would have been a perfect choice to do like The Running Man if you were being faithful to the book. Like it would have been a great entry in his filmography.
Okay, RoboCop.
I enjoy The Running Man. It's crazy, but the book is way darker and more subversive.
It's like a different beast completely.
Yeah.
Wait, so the ending, why has nobody ever written like a thought piece or anything about the fact that like I read The Running Man, I think in 2002, and my jaw hit the ground when like the movie literally ends with him holding his guts into his belly as he runs a plane into the building, into the corporation.
Runs a plane into the game show or whatever, to the building, and
I was just like, holy shit. Like, I'm like, that really just fucking happened. Like, that it had such an impact on me because, what I really want to see them do, I can't been dying for The Long Walk forever, which is the other Bachman book. Like,
The Long Walk, I can't believe that's not been made into a movie.
It's insane.
I think eventually it will, right? We're kind of
they're
Renaissance, right?
I'm sure they're working on it now.
They're working on it. They're working on it
after the success of like It and all that.
Okay, what about Will Ferrell as RoboCop, directed by Adam McKay?
Edgar Wright. Edgar Wright is doing a remake of The Running Man. I didn't realize that.
Really?
Is that really a thing that's happening?
He's adapting it directly from the novel.
Holy shit!
Oh my god! All right. I mean, I'm down if Edgar Wright's.
All right. You know what makes me concerned about this, though? Here's the thing. Even with everything we just said, I kind of like The Running Man where it is, and here's why. Because when I think about the remake of Total Recall and how it completely doesn't have the feel of the 1990 version, like I just can't imagine Running Man as anything but what it is, and I just don't want to see it touched.
The only reason to have hope would be Edgar Wright himself, but
he's a great filmmaker.
I remember Verhoeven talking about the Total Recall remake, and it was great because he admitted, like, he's like, mine had Arnold in it, and anything you put Arnold in has natural levity. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like he knew to took it seriously, but he also knows that Arnold's presence itself brings a tone that is immutable. You can't suppress Arnold and the tone he brings, and that's both a curse and a superpower.
You don't have Richard Dawson anymore, who is the best part of that movie. Yeah. And
he's such a scumbag.
Who would you cast in place of Richard Dawson now? Like,
I
mean,
I know. The guy from Dawn of the Dead and Modern Family, the Bruce Campbell lookalike.
The Bruce Campbell guy. What's his name?
Whoever the Bruce Campbell guy is.
Ty Burrell.
Ty Burrell.
Yes.
He plays a great douchebag in Dawn of the Dead. So
he would be great. I think he could do that role justice.
Throw him a bone. Why not Bruce Campbell?
Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
Done
Bruce
deal.
Campbell.
Done fucking deal.
I would just like to see Bruce Campbell get a spotlight like that.
He's never been a bad guy. He's not a bad guy.
Mark Hamill.
Oh, that'd be good too.
Mark
Hamill is an excellent, underrated actor that does not get enough credit.
It has to be that Chucky remake. So basically, what we're saying, we want like a character actor, really meaty character, like Michael Ironside or Brad Dourif, or like that kind of a character.
Or dare I say, Jeffrey Combs.
Jeffrey Combs
would be amazing.
Yeah. I think
I could see him chewing those scenes.
I just hope we can. I think before Bruce Campbell is too old to act, he's got a few decades left. But I'd love to see him get a big part in a movie like that. Like I was hoping Raimi could do it at some point. Maybe he'll have a big part in Doctor Strange too. I don't know, but I would like to see.
He'll definitely be in it though.
I feel like he's popular enough now where it's financially viable, right, to do that.
And he's firmly put Evil Dead behind him. Like he is so
he is a household name now, more than he's ever been. Why can't he be in a big studio movie?
Do you think those guys they're just not interested in doing that kind of stuff? Like, because you look at like Mark Hamill, there was a period where he didn't want to do movies.
Yeah.
Because he thought he was ugly after the car crash. He didn't think he was going to get cast as anything, which is why
he switched to voiceover.
He went into voice work. But he's have you seen Sushi Girl?
Brilliant.
Like in a movie like Sushi Girl, like he was excellent in that movie.
Yeah.
But like those guys definitely could get bigger parts. I just don't
be honest. I was really let down by Sushi Girl.
I mean, it's not a great film. He's really good in the movie.
Yeah, he's good. Actually, he was unrecognizable. It was like, whoa, holy shit, that's Mark Hamill. Like I was blown away that was Mark Hamill. Tony Todd, Mark Hamill. But I gotta tell you, I was a bit let down by that film. The poster did not deliver what my expectation. I didn't watch the trailer. I just went into the film and it just did not. I don't know. It just didn't work for me.
It had moments. It was trying to be style over substance kind of.
It had moments.
Tony Todd as a replacement for Richard Dawson would be interesting.
Tony Todd.
Tony. Imagine that voice.
Todd.
That voice.
Or like Keith David.
What? Oh yeah, that's good. Just to either him or imagine them being boisterous and trying to get a crowd on their side. We never have seen that from them.
Yeah,
really cool.
Yeah. I'm gonna go
Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman is good in
Ron Perlman. Here's the problem. Ron Perlman doesn't have the look for like, he doesn't have like a TV like host look.
No.
If you're casting, he's more like he's Clay Morrow from Sons of Anarchy. Like he's got more
Hence
rugged.
Why Bruce Campbell's the one to go with.
Bruce Campbell is absolutely hands down the pick for that.
If you could do a remake of The Dirty Dozen, like forget Inglourious Bastards, forget The Expendables. I mean, like an actual remake of The Dirty Dozen.
Well, they did. It was called Small Soldiers.
Who would be? Small Soldiers did it right. I know. I don't want to talk bad about Small Soldiers. But who would be like? Soldiers. Who would be your Lee Marvin, your Charles Bronson? Your Telly Savalas, your Donald Sutherland? Who would those guys be?
It's a different question than like the Expendables, because the Expendables was specifically action heroes. You're asking.
Yeah, we're looking for like macho character actors. Like,
you know what the problem is with something?
I mean, I throw Michael Ironside in there.
Yeah, Michael Ironside.
Absolutely.
You know what the problem is with that? The problem is that's like saying like, who would you cast in Jaws to replace the people that are in Jaws?
Yeah, it feels almost irreplaceable.
Just can't. It's same thing with Back to the Future. Who would you recast? You can't. These are movies that are.
I dread the day that Zemeckis and Gale die, and that they finally have the rights to remake it.
Jurassic Park. Imagine them trying to remake Jurassic Park, the original, and like an actual remake.
They're going to remake everything. It's like developing every piece of land.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
That's just going to happen no matter
what. Like RoboCop is my favorite movie of all time, hands down, and they've already remade it. And
it's an okay.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
They remade it, and I try not
just
to
as one hand. It's left as one hand in that thing.
And you know what? The remake, and I'm a super fan too.
Michael Keaton is great in that.
Yeah, like the remake isn't bad. It's just kind of forgettable. It's
forgettable.
That's
totally
forgettable. Well-made, forgettable film that you go and you watch once for fun, and that's it, and you're done.
Yeah, and it didn't have, and it wasn't his fault. The guy who played him, what's his name, Kinnaman?
Yeah.
Like he's fine. I like him better in Suicide Squad.
Yeah, he's in Suicide Squad.
I hate that they had the original suit in that movie, and
they made fun of it.
They made fun of it, and they put him in.
Not a fan of the suit design at all. Not a
Space
fan.
Age dildo, was the second outfit, and no, not a fan.
I mean, there's very few remakes that'll ever be memorable, and that's what it is, right? We've talked.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, they're remaking Weird Science. I mean, that's a movie. That's a movie of its time. You can't remake that movie.
It's the same thing as trying to remake The Breakfast Club.
They should,
you just can't do it.
They're going to reverse. They're going to reverse
gender swap it. Yeah, they have to.
They will gender swap it.
God, please don't do the same thing again.
Don't do the guy, because they'll never hear the end of it.
Yeah, and no, I just don't want to see it again. They did that already.
It's like I said, it's a product of its time. That movie is hysterical because it took place in the 80s. It's not.
The guy, he just said they should remake Lord of the Rings. Amazon's literally making a Lord of the Rings TV show, so
yeah,
and it cost them $1 billion.
But isn't that like it's not remaking
Lord of the Rings?
It's not a remake though. It's
like basically like the Silmarillion, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me. Okay, so I'm watching Lindsay Ellis and that video that you recommended, because I remembered on the we were listening to the Frighteners podcast. I was like, oh yeah, Lindsay Ellis.
You're watching the Hobbit videos she
made?
I'm
watching really the Hobbit videos, and I have to tell you, first of all, this girl blows me away.
Dude,
with
she
her
is incredibly
I'm just
smart.
taking notes.
Oh my God.
I'm like, okay, I need to do this sort of thing for my channel. I need to figure out, and you know what it starts with, in all honesty? You just need a good script. You just need to write your entire their video essays. You need to write an essay.
She's a novelist.
She's a great writer. Yeah. She's a phenomenal writer. And I'm just going, here's the one thing I don't understand though. She has all those movie clips in her films, in her videos. I can't see how she's monetizing these videos. Like, how does she get them? She's got millions of subscribers. I don't think she monetizes them. She can't.
I don't know the business end of it, but her stuff is like, it's some of the most introspective, well-researched stuff I've ever seen.
I'm like, how can I do this? Like, I want to do this for my channel. I'm like, just thinking, I'm like, I got hot takes. Like, I could figure out I just got to figure out, I can edit. I just got to figure out how to do that. Cause that, like, oh my God, I'm like watching, I'm savoring it like a steak. Like, I just finished the first episode.
Dude, wait till you get to the third one. It's heartbreaking, even for Peter Jackson.
I'll tell you something.
Why did he have to go through this?
The way she breaks down, she hasn't really gotten to Peter Jackson yet, but the way she breaks down this is her brilliance, and this is just something that like blew me away. She's like, all right, look, look at the word count for all these books. This is what The Hunger Games is. This is what Lord of the Rings is. This is what The Hobbit is. The Hobbit has 95,000 words compared to the sum total of all 3 Lord of the Rings books, which is almost 500,000 words, right? She goes, these 3 books were 3 movies where they had to cut a bunch of stuff away. The Hobbit at 95,000 words was divided into 3 books and then had to be subdivided into all these different acts. You had to have act 1, act 2, act 3 for each one of these things, which then created some filler. And I love that she has that shot of what's his name? Legolas, whatever. Orlando Bloom.
Legolas, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Running on the green screen and like running up the bricks that are slowly falling away, because that's the moment in the Hobbit movies where I literally started cackling out loud.
Out during that. Yeah.
I just absolutely and the same thing with the bear. There was something with the barrels. They all blend together.
It's atrocious.
Dude,
it's one of the worst things that he's ever made. It's really.
Oh my God. Yeah. Like I can't even recall. I watched all 3 of those films in the theater, and I can barely recall. I spent 9 hours watching these films. I remember Legolas doing this on the.
I like you call him Legolas.
Whatever, I can't say it. I have Miss Malenprop here. But
those movies, and I don't hate them. I'll have to say that the theatrical cut of the second one was the worst of the 3. But then I watched the director's cut of the second one, and it actually made it a better film. So if you have a chance to want to go back and watch the director's cut of Desolation of Smaug, it actually makes Thorin's character more believable, and it actually adds a lot of depth to that.
Is that where they pour the gold on the dragon?
Yes.
I mean,
but those movies, like that Hobbit trilogy, would be what the Lord of the Rings trilogy would have been if somebody else had directed it.
Yeah,
rather than someone who actually
so right
about the movies.
You're so right.
And Joe Schmo, like Jan de Bont or somebody, you know what I mean? Like directed those, it would have been the Hobbits. That kind of thing would have been what the Lord of the Rings was, just a bunch of goofiness.
It sucks because it's like this big mar on Jackson when it like it's not. If you watch those videos, it's not really his fault. He was put into a situation where he had to make movies he kind of didn't want to. And I can't imagine doing that.
First of all, that video where he's just standing on set and he literally just looks lost, and he looks at the camera because they're doing the BTS stuff,
right?
And they left it in, and he's like, everybody, like there's like a stairway going up. It's all green screen stuff, and it just there's nothing real. It's just all green screen props.
Like, how do you know where you're going? Like, how do you know what you're doing?
He looks so sad, and he looks to the camera and he goes, everybody's going to be back from lunch in about an hour, and I have no idea how I'm going to shoot this. I have no idea.
And the thing is, too, like, like that little scene right there, or like, I wouldn't say all directors about many directors, but Peter Jackson is like a good human being. Like, I don't think he's a megalomaniacal ego case or anything. He's not. It's so obvious what a good person he is. So when you watch that behind the scenes stuff, it is truly heartbreaking because he's in over his head and he never wanted this.
You know what's funny too? I've been holding off on getting Lord of the Rings on Blu-ray forever because I said, I should just wait until they do all the Hobbit ones, and then whenever the big gold treasure box set comes out, that's the one that I will get and be done with it. Because you know that one thing that Peter Jackson cares a lot about, and we talked about this on the Frighteners or before the Frighteners started when we were doing that, is that whatever he's going to put out as release, it's going to be packed to the gills with goodies. Just everything.
He pioneered it.
Yeah, he like so much so, and I don't know if I mentioned this on the last episode, that when the King Kong, I have King Kong on Blu-ray, but then there was a King Kong DVD version that was a 3-disc set that did not have features that was on the Blu-ray, but it was only $7. So I bought that as well because A, it had a cool statue of King Kong, but B, because I wanted the special features. I didn't even buy it for the film. I bought it for the special features that I didn't have on the Kong set because I knew, because he just packs these things with such love and care. So I'm like, okay, when I get these Rings movies, I'm just gonna, that's the time to revisit the Hobbits. And the thing is, from what I've heard, they have sort of given a once over to all of the films to make them feel like one giant cohesive thing, like in terms of updating the special effects and a little bit, like upscaling things.
They
And
fix some of it in post, like even
yeah,
after release.
yeah, like fixing like just a ton of stuff and sort of really giving it a once over. Because remember, those Hobbit films ended. I don't even know when they ended, like 2015 or something. It's been a while.
I think 2014. Yeah,
2014. So we never got that box set. I mean, it's been years. And the reason why is because probably at Weta, he's like, I can't put out Brain Dead, and Meet the Feebles and Bad Taste because I'm too busy dealing with the extras on these discs, as I'm also dealing with They Shall Not Grow Old and blah 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 blah, and making Mortal Engines, which I never saw.
He didn't direct that though; he just produced. I think
he produced it. Yeah.
What was the last thing that he did? That was a movie.
They Shall Not Grow Old, right?
They Shall Not Grow Old. Well, he did the Beatles documentary too, right?
I can't wait
he
for
didn't
that.
Direct Tintin. That was Spielberg.
Oh, he didn't direct Tintin.
That was Spielberg showing that he could still make a good Indiana Jones movie, but not making Indiana Jones. Anyway, outside of that, I was gonna say, what annoys me about the Hobbit movies breaking Peter Jackson is that I think if he still enjoyed that universe and he still wanted to touch it again, I think that guy could go back because he has all the raw materials and he could actually make the 90-minute movie that, there's a 90-minute movie in there that's awesome that he shot.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That could be re-edited and could be released now that the studio doesn't have to have ticket sales or opening weekends or anything. Like, I know he doesn't have an interest in touching this shit again because he never wants to look at it, but it sucks that we can't get the Peter Jackson Hobbit edit, the book edit or something.
We just needed 1 3-hour movie.
No, you want to know something? In a
90
world
minutes,
of Snyder
Nathan,
cuts,
that's a kids movie. It
not
should
true.
be 90 minutes.
In a world of Snyder cuts, anything is possible. You know what? In all honesty, what you're requesting, Bob.
They've already made it. One of the Hobbit animated film is perfect as it is.
It is. The Hobbit is Lord of the Rings. The Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings is superior to the animated Lord of the Rings, and the animated Hobbit is superior to the Peter Jackson.
Yes.
But you want to know something? The version of what you want Peter Jackson to do, Peter Jackson's never going to spend the time on it.
No.
However, you're going to get a fan edit. There's going to be someone's going to do a fan edit. Oh, okay.
So there's already film. Just like they re-edited Star Wars as well.
But it doesn't. You know what I mean? Like, you watch those things, and as an editor too, I'm like, oh man,
they have no idea what they're doing. They're just chopping shit up.
And plus, it's not their fault. Sometimes you can't cut sound like that. You can't just take
stuff that's already edited.
Yeah.
Edited and mixed and like mastered.
Yeah, you can't do that. I'm saying Jackson has the raw materials, so he's the only one that can truly make the.
I've always
90-minute, 2-hour version.
I've always dreamed of a prequel trilogy that gets rid of Phantom and then just 1 2-hour film that combines Attack of the Clones.
You just need one. You just. Need
I don't
one
even
movie.
want Attack of the Clones in there, man.
You just need Revenge. You just need Revenge of the Sith.
So
that's it. Revenge of the Sith is the only movie. You need.
But you know where you stick it? You stick it after Empire Strikes Back. You find out that he's Darth Vader's son, and then we flash back to how he became Darth Vader, and then boom, Return of the Jedi comes, end of story. Like, just
I think
or Star Wars is just 3 movies, really. Or that.
I mean, I'll go one further. For me, Lord of the Rings is my Star Wars. It's that was really my cultural moment, was when those movies came out.
Welcome to the show.
I lived overseas for when those movies were out, all 3 of them, and I lived and died by those movies. I saw each one of them about all 3 of them. Lord of the Rings, the whole trilogy. When that came out, I was in Korea, and I had no connection to this place here, and those movies were that was my comfort blanket. Were those movies?
They're phenomenal movies.
So that's like your trilogy.
I'm ready to show them to my children.
My trilogy. I mean, I love Star Wars. The original trilogy is fine, but for me, it's Lord of the Rings. That's the end all be all for me. I saw those movies.
Back to the Future.
Mad Max.
All 3 of them.
Mad Max, Road Warrior, Thunderdome. That's my Star Wars.
Mine's Back to the Future. That was my
every time
food.
You get to the end of Return of the King, I'm in tears on the floor every single time. I can't help it. Like, that's it for me. I think it's the perfect ending to a trilogy. There's nothing better for me, at least.
I can watch those extended editions like constantly.
Yeah,
like, I have to tell myself to not watch them.
And I love the most nihilistic, transgressive shit, like violence and just hopelessness. Like The Rover and Irreversible and all that shit.
I mean, you
But,
run a genre film festival.
you
Of course,
know,
yeah,
you put on
like
Return of the King, and I am in tears.
Okay,
by
Nate,
the
I
end of that
have to
movie.
know. Nate, I have to know. Have you ever seen The Divide?
Fuck, dude, that movie is just.
That movie. Okay, do you know what I would pair that movie with as a double feature?
That movie is like the very definition of off-putting. Like,
I know, but what do you ask me? What I would pair that with for a double feature?
What you would pair that with a double feature? Okay,
Rent.
so it's going to be something
Rent.
that's not
Rent.
like that.
Rent.
Rent.
No. It's thematic. It thematically works, dude. It is the anti-Rent.
550.
I'm telling you, dude. I'm telling you, these two films are simpatico. They're so simpatico. One's happy and one's sad, and they're just the same. They're very, very similar.
You sound like me whenever I scream to the heavens that a double feature should be American Psycho and Secret to My Success.
Oh my god,
that's actually pretty good.
I think it's an incredibly good pairing.
Yeah, but that's so much. Like, listen, I'm all about pairings. Like, for instance, I just watched a double feature. Blind, by the way, never seen either one of these films. I watched Habit, Larry Fessenden's Habit, and The Addiction by Abel Ferreira, and both of them are thematically similar and made perfect sense in a double feature. They're both vampire films that take place in the 90s in New York and sort of have a metaphor where vampirism and AIDS and stuff like that, and totally work. But I also think a great double feature is something that is just super dynamic, and the idea.
I think that what I said was dynamic.
Yeah, no. What you said was dynamic. That's what I'm saying. It can be like, either way.
Like,
go either way.
Secret of My Success is the disease, and American Psycho is the symptom. You know what I mean? Like, the whole thing is simpatico, but it's a terribly different views on what 80s business was about. You know.
That'd be another great game. Is just someone names a movie and the other two people or whoever has to come up with the best double feature to pair it with.
I know. I'm trying to think of that right now. Actually,
no
ready?
Internet. Just use your brain.
By the way, what about Stanley Kubrick's Encino Man?
It's called 2001: A Space Odyssey. They already made.
Oh shit!
What year did Encino Man come out? Was that
91?
Okay, so that's not 96, right?
What about oh my god, I'd love to talk about Encino Man.
I just watched it like 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
We already talked about Biodome.
We talked about Biodome.
I know, and there's a movie that we don't agree on. Like, I'm a huge fan. So
I don't like that movie at all.
I know you don't. I know. I'm a huge Pauly Shore fan. So
if you watch it
Man,
today,
but that's about it.
If you watch it today, it's not going to work. But if you grew up with it, or if you connected with it in the 90s, you're going to appreciate it.
I was one of those people who got sick of Pauly Shore on being on MTV and shit all the time. I was worn out by him. I was there for it. Trust me.
What about? Oh my god, I'm trying to think of something. Okay. Really like playing this game. Give me something.
All right, like The Quick and the Dead.
Okay, I have a movie.
I was going to say, Jeff.
And The Quick and the Dead. What would you pair The Quick and the Dead with?
Oh, Quick and the Dead.
Oh, doing a pairing game? Quick and the Dead. Okay, that's a really interesting.
Wait, before we move to that, can I just say,
yes,
I would pair Encino Man with Altered States.
Holy shit!
Think about that for 1 second.
Wow!
Think about that shit for 1 second.
That's a good pull,
right?
That's a really good pull.
Fucking incredible.
I like it. I like it. What was the one that you? What was the one that you asked me?
The Quick and the Dead.
Okay, The Quick and the Dead.
I love that movie. Can I just say how much I love that movie?
Great movie.
Holy shit, I love that.
And by the way, Sam Raimi's car is in that movie. He had the axle put on a wagon so that the classic is in that film as well.
I want a shirt that says "Spotted Owl can't be killed."
What would I pair that with? Thematically, or the anti-theme of The Quick and the Dead?
It has to be like it's like something to do with showdowns, right?
How?
Showdowns or like returns, or like revenge, but not like necessarily in the most literal sense.
Okay, I got it. Fucking Hawkins' son, Stallone, over the top, over the top,
and quick and
the dead.
That kind of works, yeah. And also, it works on a level of like one movie knows the tongue-in-cheek nature, and the one is completely unaware how ridiculous it is.
Right?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
That's good.
All right. I'm gonna give one to you, Nathan.
What about like Mystic Pizza and Roadhouse?
Okay.
I like that.
That's pretty
okay.
Good.
Multiplicity with Michael Keaton and ... This is for both of you. Whoever comes up with something.
Enemy by Denis Villeneuve.
Oh my God! I was just about to say.
Wow!
Yes,
I fully endorse that.
God,
fully endorse that. That's good.
That is so good.
That's good. Yeah. Okay, what about this? Ready? Here's another one. I'm coming in. Yes, that's right, Amy. The old Delta 88. You're absolutely right. Okay, what about this? Lost in Space remake paired with ...
Oh, we talking about the William Hurt, Gary Oldman one?
Yes, which by the way, the CGI does not work. It's the worst CGI ever.
It's so
but
bad.
That movie,
great soundtrack. I like the techno soundtrack.
That movie is fucking awesome, though. Like absolutely awesome. Oh!
Prometheus?
Lost in Space.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, also Event Horizon.
Family Robinson. 2 on the nose.
2 on the nose. What about this?
Event Horizon with?
No, Event Horizon. Event Horizon would work better than Swiss Family Robinson.
What about Bob?
Okay.
What about Bob? It's got to have a good double feature because it's almost a horror movie.
Cable Guy.
Well, yeah, that almost feels
same
like
movie.
Same movie. Yeah.
I don't know, man. Dumb and Dumber. No.
Dumb and Dumber.
What about
I almost want to say, like, how about Dumb and Dumber? This isn't as like crazy, but Dumb and Dumber with Rocky. Because Rocky himself is not smart. It's like he's a character who's not of intelligence.
You're pairing it by character. I feel like that doesn't.
It doesn't work.
I don't think that works.
Okay.
Because the movie is about that's an underdog movie. even if he's not a totally.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
What about Bob with unknown origin?
Oh wow.
Or wait, what about Bob with single white female?
Yes.
There you
go. Pleasantville, and Dark City.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Does that kind of work?
Kind of works. Yeah.
Kind of works. Dark City and Pleasantville.
Richie Rich and There Will Be Blood.
Yes! Holy shit. Yes.
See that right there. Programming.
That friggin' works. Okay. All right. Going on that tip. Ready? Boogie Nights and
13 going on 30.
Hitch.
Orgasmo.
No. Orgasmo. Yeah, Orgasmo would work.
Orgasmo is basically Boogie Nights, right?
Yeah.
It's like kind of the same thing. 13 going on 30. Did you say that?
Yeah.
I guess that kind of...
What about
13 going on 30 is a curse movie, so think of like a curse movie.
Trading Places.
Going on 30 and The Wolfman.
Yeah, like the
Trading Places and no, that wouldn't work. I love how there's 9 people watching us go
yeah, well, hey man.
Hold on. Okay, wait.
Vampire's Kiss and the Madness of King George.
Okay. How about let's think of some Nicolas Cage. Let's get some Cage going on here.
Oh,
Face Off.
I was gonna say Face Off and Trading Places.
Yes.
Oh my God! How did we not say that? How did that not come up?
I don't know, but that's so fucking brilliant. Fucking Face Off and Trading Places. Yes. I love it.
Wow.
I love that.
Con Air and the Shawshank Redemption.
Con Air and the Yes! Yes! Con Air and the Shawshank Redemption.
That's really good.
That's really good.
Do you ever want to watch all the movies at once? Like, can you imagine that technology? You can watch like 5 movies at a time in your brain. That'd be pretty awesome.
I feel like I can do that with some movies.
Okay, we got one from Walter White down in New Zealand. He says Killing Zoe and Dog Day Afternoon.
Killing Zoe and Dog Day Afternoon. Yeah, that works. Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay, I got one. Devil's Advocate and Liar, Liar.
Oh, good one.
That's good, man. That's good.
Right?
Holy shit. Yeah, that's good.
That's long, too. Do you know how long Devil's Advocate is? We realized this the other day.
2.5 hours.
2.5 hours long. It's a long fucking movie.
I know that movie gets shit on, but I find it highly watchable.
It's really good. It's
great.
Really, really good.
Yeah, but people shit on it. There's a lot of people that hate that movie.
You have to have the right mindset. You can't take that movie seriously. It's so much fun, though. It really is.
It really is. Yeah.
That whole monologue at the end is just like, are you kidding me?
Scenery out the ass.
Okay, ready? Okay, here's one. Ready? Here's a movie, but I don't have a pair. You tell me. Suburban Commando and
Suburban Commando and Coming to America.
Oh wow! I was like, wait, that's really random.
With the fish out of water, though. Yeah, that works.
No, that works.
Yeah.
Suburban Commando, and I feel like there's a better one, but I'll take that for now.
I really love Suburban
Commando.
I haven't seen it in forever. I really want to revisit it.
And Yojimbo.
Good Lord in heaven.
Okay, Rashomon, and
Vantage Point.
I mean, Rashomon is essentially its own genre, so it's really easy to kind of.
Yeah.
That's not Suburban Commando.
The Hidden Fortress and Wing Commander.
Oh my god!
Like something that's completely just.
Okay. Okay. How about this? 90s teen comedies paired with cult midnight films.
So She's All That.
I was about to say She's All That with
something like a Metamorphosis movie, like The Fly or something. Right? Like
you'll never guess the theme of this double feature.
She's All That.
Double feature.
Oh my god!
I'd pay for that ticket of that. I would pay to see that.
Tammy and the T-Rex and Jurassic Park, I guess.
I mean, yeah, right. The teen movie should be more like Cotton Candy Bubblegum, I think.
Okay. How about what's another 90s? Okay, well, this is this is a horror film too. Okay, Disturbing Behavior. And
would it be like Children of the Corn or?
It's like My Girl and the Crying Game.
Okay, Eraserhead and Look Who's Talking.
I got it. Hold down. Just listen to me, right? Oh my god, The Warriors.
Yeah,
bring it on.
Yes. Yes.
Warriors. It's already been brought in.
Print it. Amy says Disturbing Behavior and Clueless.
Yeah.
That's good. That can almost take place in the same universe.
It could take place in the same universe. In somewhere away from Beverly Hills is that town where William Sandler has to say, "Hey, leave them kids alone."
Dude, Disturbing Behavior. Every time I think of that movie, I can smell the 90s.
Yeah.
Flagpole Sita, Harvey Danger.
Oh my god.
So good. So great. Okay, what about Spice World and Magical Mystery Tour?
Spice World should be with 1980s Dune. I mean, come on. That's 100% what needs to happen. I mean, I know it's not thematic, but
like
Spice
World and the Commitments or something.
Wow. Okay. That Thing You Do.
That Thing You Dune.
That Thing You Do. No, I
What
don't.
can we
Man,
do
that's
in Doom?
hard. That's really hard. That because it's a period piece in the 90s. Okay, American Werewolf in Paris with Eurotrip.
Do you know what? Okay, look, I'll defend. The CGI is indefensible in Paris.
I like Paris.
I think it's a
like
funny
Paris.
movie. Tom Stern from Freaked is responsible for it. I think the comedy's legitimate in that movie.
I like Paris. I never.
It's
had
not.
A problem
It's
with
obviously not London. Nothing is. But
no, of course not. And Mouth by Bush is on the soundtrack for that.
Thanks for reminding me of that.
Your mouth, your mouth, your mouth.
1997, baby.
1997, baby.
Dead Man on Campus.
Oh, great film.
And Leaving Las Vegas.
Holy shit. That just got dark real quick.
Oh my god.
Okay, La Bamba with Lou Diamond Phillips and Six String Samurai.
That's good.
Cruel Intentions and Reversal of Fortune.
Cool.
That's good.
Okay. Okay, hold on. I got
A Fish Called Wanda and Can't Hardly Wait.
Yes. I love Can't Hardly Wait. That is such a fun, wonderful comedy.
It is a very. It
is. It still holds up too.
It holds up so well, and I really do. I have that. Talk about a comfort blanket. When I put that on, I feel like I'm in the '90s, and it's such a comfort. It's such like a.
How's it gonna be?
Yeah, just Third Eye Blind, just the whole thing, man. It's just, Seth Green in that outfit, man. It's just great. It is, you know, it is the what John Hughes was for the '80s, that was for the '90s, even though it was like one film. You know what I mean? Like it just kind of was a John Hughes film in the '90s.
Okay, this is dark, guys. This is dark.
Invasion
of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah.
And Love Potion #9.
Oh my god.
Mouse Hunt and The Ghost in the Darkness.
You were speaking my language right there.
Do
you understand how much I love
That's
Mouse
great.
Hunt?
I love Mouse Hunt
so much.
Written by Adam Rifkin.
Yep.
Yeah.
For $1 million.
What a debut film too. That movie looks like it was made by a 20-year veteran. Like Gore Verbinski, that was his first film. Like that's
I'm a big
insane.
fan of his too, to be honest with you.
Do you know that he directed a No Effects music video?
Yes.
I did not mind The Lone Ranger at all.
I love the
I think
Lone
there's a
Ranger.
shorter edit in there that's a better movie, but I don't mind it. Yeah.
And John Carter of Mars
Rango's
is also a good movie.
Amazing.
Yeah, Rango's good. Yeah.
Rango's
amazing. The Ring remake is fucking great.
What do you think of John Carter of Mars? Have you seen it?
That's good.
I love John Carter of Mars.
I thought it was really good.
He didn't
a lot of these films, I think,
that's
got
not
panned.
gore.
I know, but Lone Ranger, John Carter of Mars, these films are like universally panned movies, like that they're terrible. And like I watched them, I was like, "What's the big deal?"
I
These
usually
both
like
great.
movies that are universally panned, though. So
yeah,
it's
that's kind of my thing.
People follow trends and they follow the news too much. Like in the '90s, all the movie news is this movie's over budget. This movie's going to be a fucking bomb. Who's fucking who behind the scenes?
Like fuck
Nobody
you, Waterworld rules. I don't care.
Waterworld is a fucking great movie, but
yeah.
To this
all
day,
right, Waterworld.
To this day, people still say that movie sucks because it was a bomb and not because it was good or bad.
It's literally I judge people based on whether they like Waterworld or not.
Jeff,
I'm like,
The Postman is a great movie too.
Postman.
Thank you, Nate.
Another bomb.
I fucking love The Postman.
It's just people don't understand. Just they don't judge the movie by its
literally
merit.
brought the United States back with the mail.
Is this might not be funny, but Waterworld.
Ford Lincoln Mercury.
The Abyss.
Ford Lincoln Mercury. What'd you say?
I said it's not really a funny combination, but it's just good. Waterworld and The Abyss double feature.
Yeah, it's a good. But what? Okay, let's find something that with Waterworld. What does Waterworld have in it? It's like what's a road movie? Okay, give me a road
Waterworld
movie.
is really a Mad Max take.
It is. It is.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles and Waterworld.
See that like something like that, like some real dynamic contrast in there that just makes it like an absolute ridiculous double feature.
Yeah.
You've got, Waterworld. You got social commentary. You got slam bang action. You got a guy drinking his own piss. You've got
mutants.
You've got a little girl with a map on her head. I mean, there's all kinds of fun.
You got Dennis Hopper.
Have you ever seen the TV edit?
Yes.
No,
I have
You have
I
to
have
see
the box set.
So the
With the
TV
Arrow
edit
version
is
of it.
great because the TV edit reinserts the scene that shows that the smoker that drives the plane, that flies the plane, is Jack Black.
Yep.
And he actually has a dialogue scene with Dennis Hopper, like really early in his career, that they cut out.
They put it back in
They
the
put it back
Ulysses
into the
cut.
edit. Yeah.
In the Ulysses
I
cut.
didn't know
you
that
can
was
watch it.
Jack Black my entire life until that DVD release. I didn't know Jack Black was flying the plane.
Bro, he is
Jack
in.
Black was very ubiquitous in the 90s, and nobody realized it until
Jackal.
afterwards. He gets killed
Yeah,
in
he
the
gets
Jackal.
killed in the
by
Jackal.
One of my favorite movies of all time, Airborne. He's Jack Black
Dude,
in Airborne.
Oh my god. I have literally never met another person name drop Airborne. I fucking love this movie so much.
Dude, I love
It's
Airborne.
so fucking good. Fish out of water in Cincinnati. He's a fucking skater. He's got to skate the devil's backbone. You got Seth Green. You got that fucking Spanish dude. I don't even know, but he's in like everything.
There's in the first Austin Powers movie, there is a callback to Airborne.
I love
him
Airborne
Wiley.
so fucking
much.
much.
He calls Scott Evil Wiley, and it's the call. It's a
Did
callback
he?
to his. Yeah, it's a callback to his. Seth Green said it in an interview once. It was a callback to Airborne. No one ever would get that because no one.
That rollerblade, that rollerblade
Like
scene in the botanical garden is so fucking great.
Like when I was a kid, the best double feature was Airborne and Gleaming the Cube. Like those are the two movies.
Airborne. What's the name of the main guy in Airborne?
Mitchell Goosen. I am friends with him on Facebook.
Oh my god!
I am not even kidding. I don't know who runs the page, but they post like once a week in character as Mitchell Goosen. I don't know what that is, but yeah. So yeah, Airborne. I'm happy
to find it.
I'm happy you're an Airborne fan, Joe.
Oh, huge! I grew up on that movie, man, and for I've been waiting for a fucking like Vinegar Syndrome or somebody to just put that shit out. I'm gonna buy it up in 2 seconds.
I think there's a bigger fan base than you assume because people if you look up Airborne and stuff, there is like a very nice cult for it. So.
And then when he's gonna win, he stops and he picks up the dude and brings him. And the poster is so great too. I'm looking at the poster right now. They're just
Nathan, you've seen Airborne, right? I don't know if we're talking about a movie you haven't seen.
Yes, I've seen it. I've seen it once.
Yeah, Nathan's like, yes.
Guys, whatever. Airborne, I get it.
What was that skateboard movie that came out in the early 2000s? God, what the hell is it called? There haven't been that many skateboard movies.
You ever seen What's Up Rockers?
I've heard of it.
That's Larry Clark. That's Larry Clark's
Larry
skateboard film, and it's really good. Really,
I'm
really
trying
good.
to think of skateboard movies.
It's called Grind. Grind. That's what it's called.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, that was during the new metal era.
Does Police Academy 4 count as a skateboard movie?
Bob, I had no idea you were so well versed in just absolute schlock and garbage. It's
man. What do you think? That's my soul. That's what I'm made of. It's my true center of my life.
You know who you may or may not know, and you should know him. He's in the Facebook, Twitter sphere. His name's Kieran Fisher, and he just it's so funny. Kieran's taste. He's a writer and really, really awesome dude. And Kieran's taste is every movie that everybody hates. Kieran just fucking finds the redeeming aspect in the film,
and not in a cynical way or
a
contrarian way.
No,
right?
Not trying to be against the grain. Just legitimately loves films that people hate because he just sees the good in them. And I love him so much for that.
There are limits to that. I'm not going to go to bat for Battlefield Earth or something like that. I'm just not.
But Nathan, here's the thing.
I love Battlefield Earth.
Yeah. It's terrible. It is. But I enjoy watching.
There's no denying that it's not terrible. But it's
there are very few movies that will come on TV that I will not watch. But very few. But does that mean that I love the movie? No, not
I think him talk about leverage. We have to have leverage over the man beasts. It's just it's comedy. It's hilarious.
So ever since I wanted to be a filmmaker, I've always said if I ever got a big studio movie, and this was before the MCU existed, I always said my dream project was making a Howard the Duck movie. And that is specifically because of my love of Howard the Duck, the movie, which is a widely hated movie, but I seriously, truly love it.
I watched the fuck out of that movie in the 90s. That movie was on TV all the time, and I watched it every time it was on.
He has a duck condom. It's kind of crazy.
As a kid, that didn't register me as weird, though.
Right.
I didn't get it. the bestiality aspect.
The villain gets possessed, and there's like a rape tentacle that comes out of his mouth.
Yeah, it's like hentai and stuff. You know,
it reads different when you're older. It really does.
Yeah, it does.
You know what the problem
really
is?
does.
I tried to revisit it, and I just couldn't get through it. And I think it's part of it was the runtime. It's a really long fucking movie. It just,
I still enjoy it.
Yeah, it takes on a whole new meaning with Jeffrey Jones in that role too.
Jones, yeah. I mean, that's the thing about Jeffrey Jones is that he's in so much stuff I love.
Yeah,
it hurts. It hurts. That one hurts.
It'd be one thing if he sucks, but he's like literally one of the best character actors of all time.
He's great, dude. He's
great. You try to parse out like how much you're willing to withstand to watch a movie, you know, and he's like on the very cusp of like
he is.
I can still stand it, but it's
it's every time it shows
Mom
up,
and Dad Save the World.
I love that movie, dude.
Mom and Dad Save the World.
I love it. Number one,
movie.
That is written the writers of Bill and Ted. So I mean, I didn't know that when I was a kid, but I like
that movie.
That's a big cheese movie that I love.
That was like you know, it's you know what I didn't realize until recently? It's kind of like a Flash Gordon movie.
It is. It really is. Look at the cover.
It's just like basically Flash Gordon.
That came out in the late 80s and early 90s that I like Madhouse with John Larroquette. And
Nathan, I am such a big fan of that movie. Oh
dude,
my god.
like okay, just bear with me. Madhouse, Meet the Applegates.
Oh
my Meet the Applegates. Meet the Applegates.
That's from the director of Heathers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meet the Applegates.
Bro, why don't more people love that movie? She-Devil.
She-Devil rules, yeah.
My Stepmother is an Alien with Dan Aykroyd. I mean, those movies, I love those movies. That's when I was growing up. I watched those movies.
That's kind of what that's the type of movie that I assumed was actually filmmaking when I was you know what I mean? Like, to me, none of that seemed cheesy. That's just what movies were.
That's the stuff that my parents would bring home that was PG-13 that I could watch. Yeah. And it was all those crazy comedies
it was a golden age. It was a golden age of video, like video store discovery, direct.
Stay tuned. I mean,
dude, I was literally just when we were talking about.
I just bought the Blu-ray. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding.
Stay tuned is a masterpiece. It's a
we
masterpiece.
Just watched that recently.
Wayne's Underworld.
Chad found a used DVD at a bookstore. I was like, "You have to buy that."
Wait a minute. Who's the is Jeffrey Jones the devil in that?
Yes,
who's
the devil.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
It's
I
also
forgot he was in that movie.
That's not. It's also directed by Peter Hyams, one of the greatest dual director DPs in the history of cinema.
Absolutely,
the guy that made 2010.
Listen,
please
tell me that
I love End of Days, man.
End of Days is really, dude. Gabriel Byrne as the devil is amazing.
It's awesome.
Like, he's so evil in that movie.
Jericho, what's his name? Arnold Schwarzenegger's name is
Jericho Kane.
Jericho Kane. Yes. What a name! I just like the conceit of we've run out of stuff for Arnold to fight. Oh wait, Satan.
You want to know something? Good. That movie that and The Sixth Day is really great as well.
That is a super dark movie.
Super good though.
I have a huge problem with the villain's plot in that movie. That bothers the fucking shit out of me. He wants to live forever, but he's just cloning himself.
He's just cloning himself.
That's not living forever. You can't transfer your consciousness into a clone. That's not
also you can
he
put
was the
that
bad guy in Ghost.
Yeah, that guy.
Tony Goldwyn. Yeah.
Also the bad guy in Belko Experiment.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was a good little movie. I like that. Yeah.
It's really
when he came back from politics and he did the Last Stand is a really solid action flick.
Really one of my favorite directors, Kim Ji-woon. Yeah, absolutely. That's a good movie. It's a really
Johnny
good
Knoxville and Schwarzenegger together finally. I'm just
kidding. I like Rob Schneider. You know.
Wait, but what we were talking about?
Did you ever see Maggie? Maggie was a good movie.
Yeah. I think Schwarzenegger's a good actor. People don't want to admit it. But
Maggie didn't work for me, man.
He didn't work out, but his performance was good.
His performance was good because he, for the first time, he's going, look, I can actually do serious, dramatic work. And you know what I found out about him? And I don't remember where I read this. His accent is actually, he has a very, very plain American accent, he does that. What he does in his films, he amps that up because that's part of his brand, and that if you hear him in his private life speak in a voice when he's not on, that he has no accent anymore.
Well, he's been here. He's also been here for 45 years, right?
His story is incredible. He has an incredible story. You know what's crazy about Arnold Schwarzenegger? He was a millionaire before he even made the Terminator, and it didn't come from acting.
It came from bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, not from bodybuilding, from investing in apartment buildings.
Really?
Yeah, he took that money and he became like a real estate guy. His first $1 million came from he invested in he bought an apartment building. He like renovated it himself. Like his money, like obviously his money comes from being a movie star, but like when he made his first money, he is like the ultimate immigrant story. Really is unbelievable.
I don't know if you guys are familiar with Bill Burr, but he does a great little.
I was about to
snippet.
bring that up. Bob.
Yeah, he does a great snippet on why he's a great man, and it's really funny because like
where is that on YouTube?
Yeah. You just look up Bill Burr and I forget what. Just look up Bill Burr, Arnold Schwarzenegger, because he runs down like how like people were saying all his credibility was lost because of the thing with the maid, which did suck, and he's a piece of shit for doing it. But he's like, how many of you could like do the things he's done? And then he lists everything Schwarzenegger has accomplished in his life. He's like, he moved to a different country. He became famous for bodybuilding.
Right.
Then he became famous for acting, even though no one can understand what he says. And then he marries a Kennedy, and then becomes the governor of California. And then he's like, how many of you could move to Austria and do the same thing? You couldn't. It's like incredible.
I have such respect for him and Stallone too.
Yeah,
both two guys who just really made it from nothing and just like came up.
I could bring it full circle for us to like a wrap up double.
Yeah.
Feature.
Oh my God, this was not supposed to go so long. What the fuck?
I know. Wrap up double feature, the perfect double feature: Austin Powers and Demolition Man.
Austin Powers and Demolition Man.
It's almost the same plot. It's almost the same plot. It's almost a remake, for fuck's sake.
Do you guys remember going to see? Did you guys go to see Austin Powers in the theaters?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Did you remember?
Jeff, are you all right?
I'm just so amazed. I'm just so blown away. Demolition Man and Austin fucking Powers,
it's the
bro.
Same plot. It's the same plot.
Fucking same plot.
It's the same
Holy
plot.
shit. That's great. Yeah. Sorry, Nate.
Wow.
Nathan, yeah.
So who is Simon Phoenix in Austin Powers? Is it Elizabeth Hurley?
No, it's Dr. Evil.
It's Dr. Evil.
The hero gets frozen, and then later, the villain comes back, and the only way to stop the villain is to unfreeze the hero that stopped him originally.
Demolition Man is such a good fucking movie.
Demolition Man fucking rules, man.
That whole period, Schwarzenegger's early 90s, when he did Cliffhanger, Demolition Man.
Infallible. Daylight's a good one.
The Specialist is a great film.
I like Specialist. I even like Assassins.
Stop for my mom.
And Assassins too. Those, four awesome movies.
Rhinestone.
Judge Dredd.
Yes, and Judge Dredd.
Did you know Christian Slater was supposed to be the Antonio Banderas role in Assassins originally? He turned it down. Wow. That's how Antonio Banderas got the role. That would have been. He did Broken Arrow instead of Assassins.
I'm very glad that happened, because Broken Arrow is just, and again, we talked about that theme you in the chat, and I'll tell you something. You know what really pissed me off about the end of Scream 3? Why the fuck? Why the
Other than
fuck?
It's not a very good movie.
No, Scream 3 is actually really, really good, and I have a lot of reasons to back this up.
Because James Bobber in it.
No. Two reasons. Okay, hold on.
Okay, but the Scream universe takes place in the Viewers universe too. That's insane to me.
I know, that is insane. I love that.
They literally exist in the same timeline.
I love that that's true. But but here's the thing. Two things. One, when she fucking looks back at that gate, and the fact that Dewey's fucking theme doesn't play, I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is just like how do you not end the Scream movies with that? Because at the time that was the end of the Scream movies. So here's the thing. The Scream 3 has a lot of problematic elements in it. It just, there's structural flaws. There's all sorts of, there's tonal things. It's definitely the weakest of the original 3 films. It goes, for me, they go in order. It's 1, 2, 3, and 4. However,
I disagree.
I didn't care who the killer was in part 3. That's the problem I had with 3. It was a fun movie to watch, the kills and everything.
Yeah.
But at no point during that movie, I was like, I wonder who the killer is. I didn't care to find out.
Okay.
Whereas in the first 2, I was like, who's the killer?
I will give you, Nathan, I will give you that. It does. I didn't really care much for who, or I wasn't, it was inconsequential who the killer was. However, when I found out the killer and the killer's motivations, it sort of was like that. it was sort of like an Emperor Palpatine thing in the new Star Wars trilogy. You know, like it was kind of like
well, that doesn't make me like it.
It
No.
made me
Makes me like it less.
No. It closed the loop for me, and it just made me happy that she has a happy ending, that she ultimately, you know, because here's the thing too, they also bring back the whole thing. The Scream 3 is a ghost story as well, and her mother is a ghost that haunts her, and so she needs to deal with the things that her mother never resolved in order for her to be free of the insanity and the stuff that she's been dealing with her whole life. She like closes herself off. She becomes a crisis counselor, whatever, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. I have a whole video essay about this, and I'm telling you, Scream 3 is good. It's a really good movie. They should have had that Dewey theme closing.
I love 4. I can't believe you like it more than 4.
I hate 4 with such a vigorous. I hate it. I hate it.
I don't.
However,
I don't care for 3 or 4.
However, here's my pitch for Laurie Strode, Last Action Hero. Ready? I'm gonna do this, and then we've got to close this up because we're about to hit 3 hours. Ready? I'm closing this up. This is my pitch. I know it doesn't feel like it. This is effortless for me. Okay, ready? This is my rewrite of Halloween 2018. Laurie Strode. Okay, nothing happens after the first Halloween. There's none of the sequels happen, right? Laurie Strode writes a book called The Babysitter Murders or something. She becomes super famous. She starts doing book tours. She's doing these book tours with like Tommy Doyle, the little boy. Like it's like a whole thing. Like it's a whole media circus or whatever. They decide, taking a page from Kevin Smith's Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, they decide just follow me on this.
I'm just laughing because
you cut to the sanitarium where Michael Myers has been for 40 years, catatonic, and he sees on the front page, he sees Laurie Strode, and that she has this book, and that she is they've made a movie about Halloween, about the babysitter murders or whatever. And this enrages Michael Myers. He snaps out of his catatonic state or whatever, just like in Halloween 2018. Rips up the paper. He escapes. He heads out to Hollywood, where they're having the premiere at the Chinese Man Theater. And he's like stalking around LA. He sees William Shatner, and he beheads him and rips off his face and wears it as the mask because he recognizes it as the closest thing to what his mask was back in 1978. So he puts it on, right? And then he goes to the premiere, and it basically turns into the third act of Last Action Hero a little bit, where fucking Michael Myers is stalking around. Everybody thinks that it's like the in-movie Michael Myers, but it's really the real Michael Myers. And then he kills Tommy Doyle. And when she finds Tommy Doyle dead, fucking Jamie Lee Curtis goes all H2O on his ass, like Halloween H2O. It's like, all right, Michael, let's face off. They fight each other in Chinese Man Theater as it's set on fire and burning. And
Inglourious Bastards, a little bit.
Yes, just like Inglourious Bastards, exactly. And that's my Halloween. That's how I would do Halloween.
It's also a little bit of New Nightmare in there too.
Yes, that's how I would do. Yeah. And you totally. And I'm so serious about the Shatner thing, because Shatner's face would age along with the Michael Myers mask. So he would be like putting on an aged version of Michael Myers mask. And
I mean, it would look like a mess. You realize that, right? Like, you can't just rip off somebody's skin off their head and it look okay.
That would make it. You know what he does? He rips off William Shatner's face and then he spray paints it white.
Yeah,
and puts some shellac on it.
And Jamie Lee Curtis has got to get a Spock mask and turn it inside out or whatever.
Oh my god!
And then
she becomes the killer.
They battle.
But I gotta say, to close out, the trailer for Wes Craven's New Nightmare, when that came out, that trailer scared the shit out of me. I was like, oh my, that whole scene where the animatronic hand comes to life, I was like, I don't want to watch this movie because it looks too fucking scary.
The horror is about us, right?
Yes. Yeah, but the horror. But here's the thing. But what also makes it so scary and speaks to what Nate is talking about is that the horror transcends the movies. The movies in New Nightmare, the movies are just movies. And this is the horror coming out of those movies. And therefore makes you feel unsafe because you're like, whoa, this isn't
our creative ego or id is the real monster.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it's the best one. It's the best
In the Mouth of Madness series. And New Nightmare.
It's not that I don't think it's the best one, but it is.
I think it's the best one. But yes.
But
1, 3, and
because
New
I
Nightmare.
need to pee.
Yes. No. I'm closing, guys. I'm closing this out. This was so much fun.
This is great.
Yes.
I love
Chris,
it.
I'm sorry. We talked about zombies for as long as possible. It just, we did our thing.
I'm available anytime for you, baby.
Yeah,
I'll do it.
You let me know.
Let's figure out when it's not crazy. Let's do another show like this, like separate. Like we'll call it something, and we'll just do it.
Just movie jambalaya.
Hanging out.
That's exactly what it's called. No, I like it. Movie jambalaya. Until we think of a better name, it's movie jambalaya.
Goulash. Yeah.
No, movie jambalaya. That's really good.
That's good. Yeah.
Because you know what I think of when I think of jambalaya? I think about the fact that they put way too much paprika on Pierce Brosnan's jambalaya in Mrs. Doubtfire because he is allergic. Sorry.
Much paprika.
Don't make me laugh. I gotta pee.
All right.
That movie is really sad.
We have a nice way of closing. We say peace and hair grease. Check out Nathan at Lugenhusen. What's your fucking head? I'll put it in the comment. I'll put it in the description.
You find me on Twitter. Just type in my name.
I'm at Thundergrunt Bob on Twitter or IG, and the link for all my shit is on the profile. So
subscribe, guys. Make sure you subscribe. Follow Genre Blast. Peace and hair grease.